That's crazy. I remember reading a report.
How's it
I think
going?
it was 5 years ago. It was like ISIS. I think national
All right,
lawyers
so
guild,
we're
and then I think it
watching
was Al Qaeda
this
in Iraq were
Whicks
like the
debate
top
panel.
3 terrorist groups.
Got Destiny, and I don't know who this other dude is. He's arguing against
I'm glad they got it. Thank
Pavlo
God.
10
and
pounds
Hunter Ash,
from Riz,
who pretends to be a libertarian.
The church process is somehow
and they're arguing over the ICE,
we have
whether or not ICE is overreaching or not. So, that's kind of what we're coming into. Kind of hoping maybe I can get into this debate.
A church is not a fucking town hall.
Tried to get into one of these debates before, so
is a place
see
of
how
worship.
that goes.
And if they want to,
you know, they don't want me in here. We'll end up letting their asses on fire.
Then that's a very horrible road that they want to go down. It's a very horrible road that they want to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that for one thing, there is a difference. Like, if you're bringing your grievances to an actual like seat of policy making, right? That's a much more direct and intended and appropriate use of protest than bringing it to some random church that has people in it that you disagree with. But I would also say,
I will say, and this might be unpopular to say,
if you disrupt,
I think the church incident was very bad optics. I get a little bit annoyed sometimes with the people that I share coalition with, where I think that they're not good at political strategy or rhetoric or optics. And I think this one is very bad optically. Now I know people will say the pastor at the church is a top member of ICE or whatever, and that's fair criticism. The issue though is how many people among the general public know that. You can almost guarantee like 99% of people don't know that. You just see a bunch of people storming a church, and those are the kind of things that you need to think of before you engage in activity like that.
Would it be justified? This is a good question. Would it be justified if the pastor was allegedly actually an ICE agent?
Yes. So I think protesting is fine. I think if they asked them to leave and then they didn't
in the middle
leave,
of the sermon.
If they asked them to leave and then they didn't leave, then I think that they could arrest them. Sure, or the cops could come and arrest them. I didn't see that. I watched.
This would probably be legally fair.
I didn't see anybody ask anybody to leave or tell anybody to leave. Maybe they didn't. I just missed it, or maybe
you hadn't heard of it. I thought you said you hadn't heard of it.
I was lying. I was emulating you cocksuckers whenever I ask you about any of the horribly corrupt shit that Trump does, and you seem to have never heard of a single fucking thing of it. That's what I was doing. I was making fun of you.
See, this kind of energy, I know a lot of you guys don't like Destiny and stuff, but you gotta have this kind of energy when you're going at these Trump supporters. Like,
98-inch Samsung plus free
I know it's a bit of an art, and so sometimes you guys kind of fall flat trying to deploy it and everything, but optically it looks really good, right? Like, it's aggressive, but it's also like directly like almost like a stern father. Like,
I hope it was gentle for both of you.
I lied, yeah. You know, I did lie because I was showing you the exact same behavior that you're engaging in. Was I not? Weren't you guys doing the same behavior? Okay, well then how are you going to complain, right?
Where's your righteous anger over disruption of religious liberty?
If that's true, I condemn it.
So just to let everyone know, in the 1st of January.
Oh, this is a good point, actually.
21st of January last year, 2025. Trump rescinded a policy from the Biden administration that was in place, putting schools, hospitals, and churches off limits for ICE agents to go into. So last year, Trump did rescind that policy. So it
well, like, do you really think that there should be like this kind of like
this safe kind of zone for criminals? Are you serious? They're just going to run to the churches and schools now and hide. They're going to be places.
Part of the issue is that these people they genuinely view immigration and demographic change and diversity as literally like the worst thing in the entire world. All of their politics revolves around it, and they will sacrifice all other principles, all other standards, and they'll tell you that themselves. Earlier in the debate, they're talking about like, oh, you know, it's okay to kind of violate Fourth Amendment rights because, you know, the situation is so dire, it's so extreme that it calls for it, right? And so the issue that you're always going to run into is because they and a lot of people on the right genuinely believe that immigrants are like the worst fucking thing possible. They think that like all you might be surprised by the lengths they'll go to, but it makes sense if you understand from their perspective that it is literally the worst fucking thing to them. And so they're willing to sacrifice every fucking thing else because it is literally the worst thing to them.
Again, if you have a clip of them being asked to leave, I will play it just like we did the Waltz clip. So show us that.
I mean, the people like fled the church because they couldn't get away from these people. Like, yeah.
Maybe they just left because they were annoyed.
So part of the strategy that's going on here is that Destiny's been nitpicking him over every little thing, and he's trying to like basically flip back the behavior that they engage in a debate where they kind of like nitpick semantics and terminology and, oh, did this like technically happen or whatever. So he's been sitting there and kind of nitpicking them and everything. Oh, they disrupted the service? How do you know that? Can you prove that? Prove that to me. How do you know that? Oh, the people left. Oh, how do you know they left because the service was disrupted, right? Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, and maybe you need to pay more attention to this when you watch Trump supporters debate and argue like on news networks and stuff like that. It's very common for them to nitpick every single little thing that's even like blatantly obvious to most people, right? But they'll nitpick it, and so he's trying to like throw that back in their face and kind of like, we can't have double standards around this. Like, if you guys are gonna play like these semantic games and like nitpick technicalities and like you can never be sure about anything because everything's postmodern. How do you ever know if anything's true or not? Then like it has to be even playing field. We got to be able to do the same thing. Otherwise, we're fundamentally entering the debate in an unfair manner. It's an unfair environment for us.
You would have supported it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna prioritize the ones that are to Drew because he only has a few more minutes here. $10 from Luke Locomotive. Drew, you called the Minnesota church story the most notable instance of civil unrest. If they had yelled from the sidewalk, it'd be nothing. That's enough for you to let the Fed take up arms against its people? That's the question.
I guess Drew isn't even from the United States. I guess he's from Australia or something.
Saboteurs and communist activists who are basically directing violence against immigration authorities.
Also, I mean, they get away with saying this a lot, but just the fact that someone might be a socialist or communist, we have free speech in this country. The right kind of gets away with saying this a lot, as if like we have almost like loyalty standards to a particular ideology, and if you're not in that ideology, or if you're in a different ideology, then the state's allowed to kind of do whatever they want with you. But it's interesting, you'll see them defend like neo-Nazi memes and fascists on places like Twitter or X on the basis of, we have free speech. We can't label a domestic terrorist organization because people are allowed to think what they want and have like ideological differences. It's interesting how that standard kind of flips and they're able to just like, oh, well, they're a communist. So I guess we can do whatever we want with them.
No, that's retarded. That's retarded.
I feel no shame.
The kids in the church had done nothing, and they were still terrorized. So this is just they're making this retarded argument. Yeah, they were terrorized.
Also, I don't think either of us claimed that it was like an antidote, that it was like.
And this dude that's talking right now, he pretends to be a libertarian
or something. I don't think we made that claim. Yeah, I mean, it was an ICE-related protest.
This quote-unquote libertarian is very comfortable with overreaches of state authority. Usually libertarians are like very, very, very skeptical of any state regulation or authority.
The kids look scared. They terrorize.
They use the word traumatic.
Hold on, Nicholas is trying to ask me something. I can't hear what he's saying. Go ahead.
How many questions are there? I want the people to get their money's worth.
There's a lot of questions.
Issue refunds. Okay.
I'm not going to. No refunds, guys.
What if we all agreed to speak twice as fast and twice as concisely too?
Look, my rule on this, and this is a policy, I guess. It's not really a rule. If they give $5, give them a $5 answer. If they give $50, give them a $50 answer. Okay, that's all I'm saying. $5 from General Grievous to say, should individuals not have worn slaves to help evade capture if people were coming to enforce a fugitive slave act?
Illegal immigrants are slaves. Illegal immigrants are slaves. It's retarded.
That's not what the question is trying to get at, obviously.
Comparable at all.
Yes.
You only think it's comparable because you think that America shouldn't have a border.
Okay, so
I don't know how that
There's
logic
apparently the mayor of
follows, but-
Minneapolis after. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
And Nicholas is smirking because he does agree. He doesn't think that America should have a border.
I have said.
It's interesting because the guy who's pretending to be a libertarian, libertarians actually used to unironically have that position.
I think
This has never really been a position of majority of liberals or the Democratic Party. You can see it in their policy, for example.
Okay, let's.
But libertarians did unironically hold that position circa like 2012 all the way up to like 2015 until they decided to jump on the MAGA bandwagon.
But he's fine with Somali illegal immigrants.
Drew, he's fucking with you.
Do not mistake my beliefs. You're mistaking my beliefs. I'm actually a huge supporter of hereditarianism, and I just think that we need to be more careful about the IQ level of the genetic stock that we have in this country. And I don't think people like you should be allowed in. You seem like you would never say that. You would never say that to a Somali immigrant. You could rape a white woman, a white woman, and they would give birth to a retarded Drew child. I don't want these people to my country.
I don't know if I'm even going to be able to even have the opportunity to go in here and actually interrogate any people. I might all drop out before I get
Okay.
You got me there.
That I'm white.
I definitely never said any edgy things about black people or Somalis before. Absolutely true.
That proves
okay, let's watch this real quick so we can get back to my money.
I have said from the get-go.
By the way, I did tell you I've got a hard stop.
Yep, we're going to give you an outro here in 3 minutes. How's that? But let's watch this real quick.
Sounds good.
I have said from the get-go to people in
Minneapolis. Like the
Minneapolis,
hunter got dropped out. There might not be anybody for me to argue with.
We are better than that. I have encouraged peaceful protest, and I'm inspired by the tens of thousands of people who have in fact peacefully protested and fairly documented with transparency what is taking place. That is allowed in any city in the country. And I have made it clear that to the extent people are going beyond that, and those protests are not peaceful, and the violence that the chief mentioned, it's got to stop, and you got to go.
Okay.
He's not going to
it's the same thing I said before. He did not say, not only did he not say don't interfere with federal law enforcement, he tacitly endorsed them by saying all these thousands of people that I've seen like doing something that I approve of. So yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, he approved of the nonviolent protest. But he made a distinction between that and
tweeted out, you guys need to remain
violent.
peaceful at the Capitol after they'd already broken in. That was Donald Trump encouraging and supporting the violence that was happening at the Capitol, right?
We both condemned January 6th.
I didn't ask
that.
That's not the question. That's not what I asked. Why do you generalize it? Drew, please. I understand that in your, accelerated learning classes or whatever they do for disability people down there. Okay, this is just a normal conversation. I'm just asking for people that are fluent in English and can understand
you've literally never read a book in your life.
This is funny, but it's allowing them to get off on a tangent.
Tell us what book you read.
I was asking.
Tell us what book you
read. Let him ask your question, then you're going to get an answer, then you're going to get to give your outro, and they'll let you go.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
Has Destiny read a book in the past year? That'd be great to know.
You agree then that Donald Trump was encouraging violence that was happening at the Capitol, right?
Does Destiny know how to read? It would be a great question to know.
You can't even understand spoken word. Why would I assume you'd be able to read, Drew?
No, you can't read. You demonstrably cannot read. It's a well-known meme. It's a well-known meme where you actually just basically admit.
I don't think we're even approximating an answer to the question, are we?
Your outro now. I know you have to go. This has been a shit show. I won't lie. But
Did I get an answer to that question? That was a super simple question.
Yeah.
Was Donald Trump encouraging violence on the day of when there were already violent rioters inside the Capitol?
They're going to say it's different
tweeted
somehow,
out,
obviously.
I want you guys to remain peaceful while you protest or whatever.
I'm
happy to answer that after Drew goes, by the way.
Yeah.
If he has to go.
Let's see how the quote-unquote libertarian answers it.
As I've said, I've always condemned January 6th. But
that's
anyway, I'll just say I actually thought it was
interesting.
I thought it was interesting that we could actually have a discussion with Nicholas. The funny thing is that Nicholas is actually far more radical than Destiny because Nicholas is open that he wants to completely abolish the border.
The reason he wants to have a conversation with Nicholas rather than Destiny is because Nicholas isn't really going to challenge, and he hasn't really been challenging as much on the things that he's been saying. Destiny's been like, I call it nitpicking. That's the word that first came to mind, but it's really just like, if you're going to say something, you should be specific about what you're saying. You should be held down to the things that you're saying. You should actually provide evidence for the things that you're saying. And a lot of times in these debates, people kind of let the right wing kind of get away with word games, with semantic flips, with kind of like what we just saw a minute ago, where he wasn't actually answering the question. He was answering an alternative question, right? Can't really let him get away with that. And that's why they want to debate the other guy, not Destiny, because Destiny wasn't really letting him do that.
He started the entire show with a big board behind him that said, "Drew Pavel, you should hang yourself." So that just showed from the very start that he was
the board he has behind him is programmed so that it plays
I just think
donor chats.
I really think you should hang yourself. Wouldn't that be
one of his chatters like that?
Wouldn't it be bad?
I thought it's good, but
I think it's actually a testament to the fact that Destiny is actually genuinely a very disgusting person.
Notice, by the way, that none of these are these are all circumspect to the actual topic at hand.
Filthy and perverted, and I think that is a reflection.
That's super cool, man. But what about the topic at hand?
CCP is going to get you for that one.
Drew,
I'm forwarding it to my contact right now.
I appreciate you coming on. I do, and we'll get you maybe on a little smaller
Destiny,
panel.
Please look after your son. Please, literally, just call your son at some point.
Okay, let's keep kids out of this.
G Lang is DMing me right now. They're coming after you. Be careful. You're going to have to do another fundraiser to scam people on Twitter. Good luck.
Okay, Destiny, I genuinely think you should talk to your own son because you're actually a 35-year-old man and your own son is basically being neglected.
I'm actually
Drew,
37
don't you have to go?
Yeah.
That's even sadder.
Just please remember, for you also, wear a condom because holy fuck, one of you is worse enough, okay?
Okay, Drew. Thank you,
Nicholas,
for being
you're actually... I mean, Nicholas, you can actually have a discussion.
I'm just kidding. I know your version anyway. I'm just joking.
Okay, Destiny, you're literally a filthy pervert, and I genuinely hope you talk to your own son at some point in the next couple of weeks. You need to talk to your own son because your son is extremely neglected.
Last time because apparently he beat you in a debate, which is crazy because he's like 14. But I guess that's about where you're at developmentally.
Your son in that debate, your son actually endorsed like killing his own grandmother.
Okay, we're not going to bring in people's children. Hold on. I do have a rule. Don't bring people's kids into these things. Okay, Drew, that's not okay.
Okay, I do think Destiny needs to talk to his own son, and I do think he needs to fix.
No one cares, bro. Move on. Just exit already.
He's a massive.
I understand.
It's actually disgusting.
I get it. Okay, I'll talk to you later, Drew. Bye.
Please, like literally look after yourself, Destiny.
Okay.
Please, you actually need to get mental health.
He's obviously so personally upset, so mad.
Okay. Have fun, Destiny. You're a disgusting person.
All right, wait. So what was the answer to that question? Was Donald Trump supporting the violence?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that calling for peace in and of itself is an endorsement for violence. I told you what kind of statement I would need to see from them to change that view of mine that they support this interference.
Okay, but didn't Donald Trump? He had the opportunity to tell people to like stop and go home and everything, and he didn't. So why isn't Donald Trump supporting violence?
Stand down. He said stand down.
No, that wasn't until after Ashley Babbitt was killed. When there were people that had broken into the Capitol and people were begging Trump to tell him to go home, he just tweeted out.
I wonder sometimes, like, do they really think that they're going to get away?
These messages that were stronger statements than Trump has ever made, by the way, in his entire life. You will acknowledge that these two statements that the mayor and the governor made, these are stronger statements to peacefully protest than what Donald Trump's ever made before.
It just blows my mind sometimes. Like, do you really think that he was
I don't agree with that. They said like tens of thousands of people are protesting.
What's one time he's made a better statement? Yeah, sure. Give me an example of one statement Trump
has ever made. You always do this thing where it's like, pull up from your encyclopedic memory.
Have an example. He's always doing this thing where he wants an example of what I'm talking about. I just want to fucking live in memes. I know, dude. Eat shit.
Okay. $30, or I'm sorry, $30 for Drew or Hunter.
$30.
What's your biggest criticism of Trump? The strongest disagreement you can think of?
I think the tariff policy is really chaotic. I think that a lot of his, like, some of the more economically populist positions he's taken, like the cap on credit card interest rates, the no tax on tip stuff, like that's obviously just like rank populism that has no plausible justification. So yeah.
Okay. $20 from Natiristoa. For Drew and Destiny, why didn't the Democratic Party respond like Trump to the Bundy Farm incident?
You know why? Because the parties are not the same.
I don't know by the way, you know what this is? Okay, so Clyde.
I'm aware of the farm. I just don't know what the question was.
Bundy? Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they want.
Actually, I think a better question is to ask Hunter. Hunter, why did the Republicans react to the Bundy Ranch incident like they did to ICE?
Many of us have either continued to increase the value of our liberal views with his perspective. His excessive insincerity has cost us libs an easy win here. Thank you for the $20.
I'd agree with that. I think, by the way, it's a general rule. Anyone who wants to comment on politics should spend 3 to 4 hours a day reading economic papers and becoming conversant in the literature. Because
there's more
otherwise,
about politics than economics,
right? To say, about what optimal policy should be. But
only specific to economics.
The ideal way to figure out what we should do is figure out the bare minimum principles of what we're trying
to something like freedom of
and
speech or right to a trial by jury. Like those things aren't economic principles. Those are outside of that.
So
that's actually an interesting topic, the sort of meta issue there that I'd be happy to talk to you about. Like to what extent that sort of approach will or will not produce useful outcomes. But we can talk about that another time, maybe.
Okay. Let's get. I'm looking for the questions here. The Bongo Beat for $10 says, to the morons I don't care to learn the names of. When you cherry pick your words.
Well, that could be any of us.
I know it could be any of us. Abuse the English language, to distort every single thing. Why do you expect any level of respect? And I guess that's to all of us.
Very true.
I don't know that I expect anything.
Also, why should people trust you?
10 Canadian dollars, unfortunately, from Sithari for glasses. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit held that a man holding a sign up on a public road saying cops ahead is free speech in 2023. So it's not interference to blow whistles.
Okay, I disagree with that ruling.
Okay.
Okay.
$10.
But this is the law.
Oh, go ahead.
Unless there have been further rulings since then.
Highly doubtful.
Have there been? I mean, you're just making shit up.
But I'm not a lawyer. Sorry. I kind of went under on this, and that I generally don't. I try and stay away from what is the state of the law. I want to think about what should the law be, because that's the.
I think it's better to like talk about what the law is, except for when the law disagrees with you. Then I talk about what the law should be, unless that's too difficult to think up. So then I just say what I personally would prefer it to be, and I refuse to answer for any of the other political figures that I generally defend.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business. With
for us to, I mean, since none of us are lawyers, to just talk about what policies we actually want. And that would have been the conversation I would have liked to have with Nick. But
True. I agree. Because law is boring and lame.
Okay. Anybody else, Wick?
Oh, again, we got a lot, so I'm making good money here. But $10 from Doom Spiral. How do we know that the violent ICE agent attacks aren't actually Antifa infiltrators? We should investigate all of ICE for being part of a domestic terrorist organization and traitors.
The reason that's got brought up is because earlier in the debate
I still don't know why we never got the fucking autopsy for Charlie Kirk.
Gets to kind of just
Tim
throw
tweeted out he was stable.
January
he
6th.
dies.
Like, they're
I saw
just
Kirk leading up to the shooting. The guy looked like he was a little bit zoinked out.
Plants
I don't know what his
or
blood levels were
they're talking about
protesters.
they just say that the protesters are like paid agitators. But they don't actually provide any evidence for it, so it's like,
$10 from
okay, if you guys are able to do that, then we should be able to just kind of like
he want to get
use that same kind of rhetoric in the reverse.
Barred, and this is to you, Nicholas, when even post-World War II, Germany couldn't get every mid and low-level Nazi party member barred. What strategy do you use that they didn't? Honest question.
It's a tough question. Actually implementing it is hard, and it's quite possible that there's not the public will. Like how I see the ICE protests are as like the point of them is to sway public opinion against ICE, right? Because I think eventually there's a very high chance that they are essentially used as a private army. At least they are the means through which Trump would have a private army. And so it's important that they shatter their own reputation and that the people are totally against them. And that they don't see
I think from
ICE
like a optically total strategy standpoint,
restrained.
I very much agree with this perspective.
In fighting back. And so that's why I think like following reporting on ICE and allowing them to behave thuggishly, but responding peacefully.
Yeah, allow them to make an example of themselves and draw a clear distinction between your behavior and their behavior.
Our Basij, right? Our brown shirts. And eventually we might have to go to war with them. But anyway, I think that if there is sufficient like public condemnation of it, then we are totally able to do it when it comes to barring them or other measures. And I think that like local governments would totally be able, like especially liberal policies, would be totally able to just like ban
meanders on a little bit.
Okay, $5 from Word to the Wise. I want to know from the people pro-clutching over the church attack. How do they feel about religious people attacking Planned Parenthood?
I mean, I'm completely against that. I'm actually pro-choice anyway, if that were relevant, which it really isn't. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the statutes against this have been stretched to the breaking point to, arrest people who are just silently praying outside abortion clinics or something. But to the extent that anyone engages in violence or even significantly harasses the people seeking a legal service, then yeah, I absolutely condemn that, and those people should be arrested.
Is that true?
Just curious, can you name a single event where somebody was arrested for silently praying outside of an abortion clinic?
Thank you, Destiny. Thank you for...
That was a highly rhetorical question. I know the answers. No, I know. It's all good.
He's going to have to Google it because he doesn't have an example.
Poor Earl. When did Don't Tread on Me
Maybe it exists too,
Don't
but
Trigger My Cognitive Dissonance? MAGA turned into government bootlickers in a skinny minute.
So, probably worth mentioning is that MAGA was never really the Don't Tread on Me crowd. The Don't Tread on Me crowd were like the libertarians, and there's some overlap there, yes. But like the core of MAGA were never libertarian. They never pretended to be libertarian.
Because
but I do absolutely endorse going after libertarians who pretend that they're libertarians while they are like now supporting overreach of government. But you do have to just kind of make that distinction. Are you talking to a member of MAGA or are you talking to a libertarian? They're not really the same.
By the way,
yeah. Do you want to tell people where they can find you, all that, and we can kind of close shop here?
So my best work is at nicholasdecker.substack.com. That's my name, .substack.com. Today, I have a comprehensive, if pocket-sized primer on markup estimation from both the demand and the supply side, and some recent exciting work on doing markup estimation from the demand side at scale. So the problem historically is that if you're estimating demand curves, right, you're going to need detailed but you need two things. You need detailed cost shifters and other forms of instrumental variation in order to trace out demand curves. And you also need a conduct assumption, which might not be portable from industry to industry. Conduct, by the way, is just the way in which firms compete. Do they set quantities and prices? Do they set prices and quantity? Are they colluding, et cetera, right? And so there has been, and so this means that prior demand side work estimating the markup has been industry by industry, and it takes a lot of work. Now there's been some recent papers like trying to do this at scale.
It's like this stuff sounds interesting to someone like me, but like,
but hopefully you can have multiple.
And I don't know if he's trying to be appealing to a general audience, but like,
to the supply side estimates, right? Which is where you estimate a production.
No offense, is way too autistic for the average person.
Elasticity of output with respect to some input.
And at some point, you have to wonder how effective is it to even know this knowledge, to even regurgitate this knowledge. If you're not rhetorically effective in doing so, like you're just kind of out on an island with. You can't really communicate it or realize it in the or behind it or anything.
Administration there, I suppose. I got to pander a bit. And you can also find my tweets at Capgouda, CAPTGOUDA24. That's all.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. So here's what's going to happen. I have people who want to call in, and that's fine, but I know you both may need to go, and I do have more super chats to read. So I want to give both of you a chance to have outros, final thoughts, final statements. Destiny, do you have anything to say?
That was fast.
I'm like this whole administration, all the people surrounding it are just deeply unserious people. They have no factual engagement with what's actually happening in the real world. Sometimes they want to talk facts if they feel like the facts are on their side. Then they want to talk theory when they don't want to address the facts. And it's a collection of deeply unserious people. The only thing that's more upsetting than dealing with them now is going to be dealing with them in 3 or 4 years when they pretend that they never really supported this administration, when all of them saw that the Trump admin was, there were a whole bunch of red flags and they were never fully on board with it. You already see it kind of today when none of these people will actually admit how much they're throating Trump and his entire cabinet on Twitter, because as soon as you get into a conversation where they have to defend the indefensible, they immediately wheel out this, well, I'm not always supporting Trump and I'm not fully MAGA, and it's a super unserious
always in like
world.
a very
it's kind of like
sense,
it's memes
right?
and it's funny jokes and everything online, I guess, because it's
or
just
any
at the end
action
of the day we're just debating who the fuck cares. But it's pretty sad to watch the country like take this insane authoritarian slide against a group of people that used to scream about how important Second Amendment rights and states' rights are.
Okay, Hunter, Ash, do you have final thoughts for the closing statements and things like that? And then if you guys want to stay, you can, but you can go if you like. But go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, sure. So first, I just wanted to issue a mea culpa on a specific point. I took a few minutes to look up abortion clinic cases, and while there are some that would fit the description I provided in the UK,
I fucking hate people
all the
like
ones in the
this.
US that I found, I thought they were good arrests, and the charges
genuinely.
were reasonable. So, fair there.
A massive fucking piece of shit, because
general,
they're the kind of people, they just spread these talking points online.
I think that
and they just make it up.
Could have been a really interesting
and then they use it as justification to further their own radical political
it's a shame that didn't get to happen,
policies and ideology.
Maybe we'll get to talk in the future. So, yeah.
Okay.
You want to talk to somebody?
Do appreciate you
coming.
Loves
everything.
If you want a more, I guess, narrow, tailored guest list, let me know in the future. But I do appreciate that. We have some callers if you guys want to stay for a couple of those. Is that okay?
I actually have to go.
I understand. Well,
course.
have a great day.
I'll hang out with you, Wick.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, cheers, Wick.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye, Hunter. We'll see you later.
See ya.
You're a scum as fuck, Hunter. Don't ever forget it.
Thanks,
Jesus
man.
Christ. Yeah, I guess, well, first of all, let's bring in a couple of these callers and Okay, Dev. What do you guys? First of all, I guess for the audience here, Dev and Stormwolf, what are your thoughts here? I have thoughts. Before I give my thoughts, I want to hear your thoughts. Okay.
Dev, you can go first.
Hold on, my mic is not working completely correctly on my end. Give me a second.
Okay. Well, Stormwolf, you go first then, please.
Sure. I guess like my thing was like I came in mainly to disagree with the other panelists, but I guess it's fine. I feel like the issue is I think we saw this is this like inability to live in reality is really concerning. Like when we watch that Jacob Frey video, the idea that you can look at that video and say that Jacob Frey isn't telling people not to impede ICE officers is like insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You have that perspective if you already kind of have that biased perspective.
Right? If you can't do that, go home.
It's kind of like the vibe.
It seems like an explicit call, and the idea that we can like
you intuit things that they're not saying based on what you think their state of mind is. But like that state of mind is a simulacrum. It's built up of a media ecosystem that tells you over and over again that that's happening when you don't actually have examples.
There's nothing that's risen.
Kind of like when you had that abortion clinic example.
Oh well, stealing federal
manifestation of that
same insurrection. That's not what an insurrection is, and it's so obvious he has no understanding of the law, or they don't care about it.
Yeah, and the casualness too with which they will just kind of use words incorrectly and just kind of throw them out there when it kind of supports their perspective, but then they'll try to nitpick it on the other end. It kind of tells you something
about ICE and things from Destiny. I will prioritize you. Just let me know. Dev, thoughts?
I'm here now. Hopefully, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I mean, using the Insurrection Act is probably actually justified, I think. However, that's because it's a good insurrection. They should be insurrecting, because what's going on is bullshit.
But have they been? Just because you think that they should doesn't mean they're actually...
But if they were, that would be based, but...
Well, I
don't think it's risen to the level of Insurrection Act yet.
Not even close.
I don't know if we want to do the meta stuff, but
I think it's worth saying too, like individual instances where individuals will obstruct law enforcement. I don't think that rises to the level of insurrection. If you look at the actual standard for insurrection, it cites organized for a reason. Otherwise, we'd be invoking the Insurrection Act every day.
What did you do for work before like streaming? Can I ask that? Or
yeah,
you
can ask that. I was in the military for a few years. I worked at a taxes and titles for a bank for a little bit. I did just various odds and ends, but the military is the main one, and now I just...
What was your MOS, or were you in the Army, or what were you in?
I was in the Air Force. I was a crypto linguist for 3 years. I studied, my target language was
crypto linguist.
Yes.
I heard from other people that if you want to really test
you and me having a debate on crypto linguism or something, and I don't even know like...
I had a guy at a McDonald's check my grandpa on that one.
I don't know anything about that, but we're gonna like argue like what is the optimal way to approach it.
What hat he has a hat from.
Would you even have that conversation with somebody?
I mean,
like
look,
my issue is that like it's like we're being asked like what do you think is like the most efficient way to integrate functions, and it's a person who's never done algebra before. Like that to me, that's just like even entertaining the conversation is a joke.
Yeah, but
like
even,
if these people can't agree on like go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but even at even having something with a high level of expertise, we can also, I would happily have a conversation with someone on like, to what level do we think that the government should intrude upon people's privacy in order to gather information? I think that doesn't require a whole lot of expertise to have a moral debate about what should we do.
I think that's fair, but I think sometimes you can tell when someone's like way out of depth
or
they haven't done like the prerequisite
when we have like actual factual things happening. It's a boring question to say like what should the moral thing. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say that it's boring. There could be a discussion for that, but I don't want that anywhere near tied to like what's actually happening in real life right now. Because if you're going to engage with like a real life thing or policy or set of actions happening right now, then you should know about them. And if you
and I think the other thing too is if you want to talk about like the moral principle, or if you're not able to ground that out into what that actually looks like in the real world, there's a disconnect there.
If I can respond to that, and I'll let you go, I promise, right? But like, it's all about moderation in these things, and when I say that, like, I think if you had taken some of these instances where you did show them to be unserious, and I think you did, and you had just
Unserious isn't really the term. It's that their thought process is
I can't.
I'm not going to. Be the right term, but they have a double standard in how they apply their
I'm just not even going to waste my time. There's not even a good fit. It's not even. I'm not even
Clearly
owning
very
them.
partisan.
It's the equivalent to slapping around a kid in a coma. Like, what's the point? Why would I even pretend that they're capable of engaging in the conversation just because they might be able to utter a grammatically coherent sentence? Doesn't mean that they know anything about the topic. Like, if you don't know any of the underlying facts of anything.
And also, I think even more importantly is that the way that these debates kind of work, because like they want it to be interesting, I guess. They want there to be a conversation. They want to give the other opposition the opportunity to kind of express their point of view and everything. Because we're not actually able to settle on what the truth is of a particular situation, or what the facts are, what the law is, we're constantly allowing kind of the MAGA guys that come in to just set up false premises that they then later on build conclusions that are dangerous conclusions that lead to things like bad governance policy. And you don't see that in the moment. You only see kind of the application in the particular conversation that you're in. You're not seeing like you're setting up an environment that other things are going to grow out of in the future.
The debate to stake out a position. The idea that you can just say, well, examples don't matter and whatever. No, you're not trying to engage in good faith then, or you're being you're either disingenuous or retarded at that point. And that's the issue.
Like, imagine if I was trying to argue
engaging on facts.
Imagine if I was trying to argue in favor of slavery, and I give you every single example in history where a slave benefited. They were part of like an upper class household, and they were learned to read or whatever. And then every time you're like, well, what about when slaves were beat? I don't know about those examples. Okay, what about when slaves were killed? I don't know about those examples. But what about slaves? Well, I don't know any of the bad examples, but not all the good ones. How are we going to have a serious conversation about that?
I'll give the guy a lot of credit. He's really good at pulling out good metaphors on the spot. Sometimes it's strong.
Well, actually, hold on. I have a question for you.
That was a good
back in actually, because I want to turn this to you as well.
Or analogy,
you let these people on when they clearly don't know what they're talking about is bad enough. But the fact that they're also being bad faith about it, like when I press Drew and say, hey, like you keep saying
where's this guy calling from?
Christianity, you wouldn't say the same about Islam, and then you're not going to acknowledge why they were there, which was not to protest Christianity. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm at the gym. This is ridiculous. These people clearly aren't here to have a discussion about the facts. At least the Hunter guy can say,
yeah, and you know, and I don't like how people like Whicks or white centrists or quote-unquote libertarians like will let them get away with that and pretend that they're not being bad faith. Like clearly they're being bad faith. You're just pretending they're not being bad faith because like trying to not scare them off, I guess. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the larger general public. It's not fair to the other debate opponents.
Conservative, you could
kind of holding people to double standard on that.
And I like that Wick let these people on. Okay, just be
clear. No, you can let stupid people on. Like Grid, you let Grid on our debate, and that was a stupid
conversation.
But he's a moron. He's not bad faith.
What's his name?
There are different levels of this, and if you're going to let people come on who one are uneducated, but two are willing to lie about it and just never let any point slide because they'll just keep moving the goalposts, like this is so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, they move on to the next topic.
It's not worth the super chats that you get. Please stop doing it.
So
it is worth super chats you get for Whicks, just from a realistic perspective. He wants them there because it gets views and
showcase that they don't know what they're talking about.
Just to be realistic.
They're not representing the position.
But you're not doing that because you're allowing them to skate on.
That he wants to take because
hold on, do you think
you're not actually adjudicating whether or not they're being bad faith and exposing them.
So that he can show you, oh, actually no, let's move away from that one point. At least Grid, who's a moron, will say, actually no, I'm going to deep throat the point that I should have shot that lady in the car. That's a completely different discussion. But that's not what you're doing. You're letting on people who are just lying to be the other side. It's like playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, 100%.
Except they're doing it for money.
He's just letting people on a lie, just so that he can say I have a representation.
But I think people can see that, they can observe that, and they can make their decisions based on that. And I think that is a value. I want to know, hold on, just let me finish. I want to know who does that, right? So I can know more about their moral character. And if we never give them the chance to do that, we won't maybe know.
Are you never letting Drew on again?
No, I'll have Drew on again because I think this bears repeating. Lessons have to be repeated.
Okay, how many times do we have to learn that he's a fucking waste of time to talk to?
Part of the problem too is like it's like this masturbatory expression of like, or a masturbatory attitude towards glorifying the fact that we have a discussion, have a debate, rather than actually adjudicating what the actual truth is. We never actually get down to what the brass tacks are because we're just kind of perpetuating that it's always an open question, it's always open debate.
You have my opinions, right?
If you invited me on to an economics debate against Nicholas Decker, who has a fucking like 3 degrees in it, and I started trying to argue about things I had no idea about and was lying about it, I would expect you to kick me off. And if you let me on, I'd lose respect. Just say, like, it's ridiculous.
You would expect me to kick you off? No, why not let him take you to task? Why not let him, again, show everyone the gulf of knowledge between you two? By kicking you off, I am, again, preventing the audience from seeing the gulf of knowledge between these two people.
You let him do it for 10 minutes, and then you don't let him on ever again. It's ridiculous.
Okay, I just disagree with that. Go ahead,
I think
Dev.
the issue is,
Just real quick, Dev's been trying to get in. Dev ahead.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll get a chance to actually get on this panel or not, and they might just kind of like circle.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that like
Interesting.
Soypil's right that
About,
Drew's a grifter. I mean, I obviously agree, but I think to some extent, like, I don't know. I think it's maybe it's just like I have a pretty like lenient view of platforming. I think it is useful to show these people are grifting. I don't think the issue comes from them grifting. I think the issue is when like we're being told like, well, you guys can have more serious treatment. We don't need to treat them like serious people then when we have conversations with them. That's all. I don't think it's about platforming or not. I think it's just about how we treat them in the platforms. That's all.
Just Soypil, can you mute when you're not talking just because of the noise?
Is someone
Sorry, I know I'm intimidating you, Wick. I'm sorry I'm intimidating you with my big weights.
No, it's the noise. It's not. We can hear it on the camera. So, go ahead, Dev, please. You had something to say.
Imagine being at the gym and overhearing this conversation.
I know, right? That's so fucking
wonderful. Honest. This has been
asocial behavior.
Everyone in this gym is an illegal immigrant, so they can't understand me. It's fine.
Okay, nice. No, this was a shit show debate, but I do think that there's definitely value.
I mean, all of his debates are shit show debate.
And
if you're tuning in, you have no idea what this whole stream is about. Like, this guy hosts debates. This is for like terminally online debate bro type people like myself.
Do you have?
They're always shit shows.
Oh yeah, sure. Hold on, I can send it to you.
Hey.
This is actually a big thing.
Drew Pavlov, that's a pedophile? I wouldn't be surprised. There's a correlation that a lot of people don't acknowledge. There's a correlation with MAGA types and being okay with.
But go on with your
like a lot of the like Ente, Lolicon kind of streamers are all into it as well.
I want to see the.
And for a group of people that are like ostensibly conservative and wanting to protect the kids, they're super duper comfortable with people like Donald Trump, obviously, and all these like Lolicon streamers. That's kind of weird. I think that's worth pointing out.
Anybody check the car? I'm just kidding. Never mind.
Okay, I just DM'd it to you, Wick. Under his previous internet name, he said, "Fuck it, what do I have to lose? I'm deactivating anyway. I'm a pedephile."
Okay, I mean, to be fair, that sounds like it might be a bit of a joke.
The only thing that feels beautiful to me is destroying young lives, making them as ruined as me. There is no peace. It's
okay.
Like, oh.
I thought he was talking about Drew, but he's talking about
admitting it. Okay.
This is the same guy.
Like
talking about this Hunter Ash guy who said that he was a libertarian, quote unquote. And you know what the meme is with libertarians? They're always interested in age of consent law.
Twitter account said.
Because a lot of them want to have less state regulations, so they can.
That sounds like an ad hom to me, to be honest.
I did not know that. I guess, Hunter, if you wanna. If you want to dispute these allegations, by all means, you'd be allowed back on.
I thought Hunter bowed out.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. Because he was a pussy on the immigration debate, and now he wants to come back and defend his honor on pedophilia stuff. If he comes back in, that's my impression
but
would
mainly
be
just to destroy them, like to destroy them completely and utterly. Like anybody who watched the Enrique Tarrio debate last time, that was a fucking joke. Like he couldn't. Any debate that. Well, frankly, that I've been involved in, but in generally any debate with people who are pro.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some of the drink
facts constantly. It is always used.
Yes, and it's so fucking frustrating because especially like Whicks also kind of like allows them to like dodge questions, talk over
people's anti-Wick. This is where we're
Which
going.
I kind of get it, but like I wouldn't run it that way. It's the way that most media has to run it in order to keep these people from like acting like little fucking babies and crying about it.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna grab some to drink. I'll be right back.
On the idea that you can just like theorize about what law should be in a vacuum, that is not at all. Like the whole point of our legal system is that laws have to fit together with rights, and our precedent is important. And this idea that you can kind of just like fuck around and like theorize about what you think would be the right law in a situation is stupid, and you shouldn't give them that ground. I mean, I could talk more about that, but I feel like no one hearing that probably would disagree with it in that. The way
I think there's a place for that conversation, but I also do think there's something to point out about like
the fucking Biden's border.
In a situation like this, when we're talking about real world application of law, then you do actually need to give.
Done write-ups
or if you're going to say that, oh, the other side are doing X, Y, and Z, if you don't actually have an example.
That's one of those claims. It's like so outlandish, like people aren't even ready to engage with it. It's fucking ridiculous. But no, I am familiar with that.
What's going on here?
Just basically that Biden basically handled the border better than Trump did, and you can't really blame Biden for the influence. But it's like this is like so outside of where the political conversation is now that
I feel like you take these stances though, where you like there are moments where you're like, no, I'm gonna take this like really stupid stance to like stress test the fact that you don't know anything.
There's a way to force that kind of issue and have that debate, and I think the way that you do it is that you lay out a set of facts and you force the other party to acknowledge them. So like you, in this case, you might do like I forgot, it was Title 42, I think it was. During the Trump administration, during COVID, they had a special allowance that allowed them to shut down the border for COVID, but it was overturned during the Biden administration, so they weren't allowed to use that authority anymore, and that's when immigration numbers started kind of spiking back up again. So that's the way you'd kind of force that topic and kind of force like a reframing of the way that we talk about Biden's border policy would be to like, hey, do you acknowledge that Title 42 was in place during the Trump administration? It wasn't in place during the Biden administration? And they'll try to go off on it. No. Do you acknowledge that, yes or no? Oh, no. Do you acknowledge that, yes or no? And we're going to sit right here. We're going to pull up news articles if we need to. We're going to pull up the court cases if we need to. We're going to sit here until you acknowledge it. And then we're going to start building out the fact pattern and kind of shift the framing on that topic. But you gotta have them sit there and force them to acknowledge it. Otherwise, they're going to try to dance around it, talk about other things. And then the audience is going to think that you sound crazy because we haven't actually established those premises that build up the argument for why the way that we talk about Biden's border policy is not really accurate. A lot of people believe a lot of misinformation about it. You need to kind of get in there and pick apart that misinformation first.
Not getting into it, and like obviously you have to concede things that are fantastical. I just feel like there are moments where it's like by not responding at least at all, you're like conceding that you believe that to be true. And
yes,
that's just me being autistic about those like small moments.
No, I understand.
That's not even
I understand
autistic.
your point of view. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, I just think like of all the things to be like I feel like the problem is that it's like I think that you sometimes like with this like the whole like why did we do that? Why did we shoot the border bill down? I feel like you're relying on intuition calls to like oh well wouldn't blah blah blah, but like that requires them to have all the same other understandings about everything else all at once. And like I think conservatives just kind of like even if the facts don't all line up, I think they just respect like info dumps. If you can just like speak to things, like that's the reason why they feel that like they're smart, because they just have been info dumped a lot about a lot of random shit, even if half the stuff they've been info dumped on is just like completely wrong. And if you're able to
some of it's wrong, but also some of it is true, but it's cherry
picked.
picked.
About immigration, I'm not gonna say like the come to Jesus moment, but like just being able to speak to like the fact that Biden sent more people back to Mexico than the entirety of the return to Mexico.
That's an interesting statistic I just became aware of in like past week or so, but that's a really powerful topic.
Wasn't it like 40 to 50,000 people total or something that got?
Yeah, it was.
And think about that too. Like he managed to do all that with all the craziness that's going on right now with ICE, without harassing U.S. citizens, without having military in the streets, without violating people's due process. That's pretty crazy. Like that itself speaks to the incompetence
look at the numbers, like Biden
and the mismanagement of government of the Republican Party, that all of the resources that they have, like 10x what Biden had, all of the authority that they've managed to kind of wrestle into the public,
maybe I'll memorize
that
like
the Biden administration wasn't using, and they still managed to
I think it would be good.
send back less people than the Biden administration. That's crazy. That's wild. How do you manage to fuck up that badly?
You need to focus on the fucking Mike Pence tweet more. It was.
They
like
have an excuse for every fucking. Yeah, I know, but they have an excuse for every fucking tweet and everything, and it's just like no matter like it's just so fucking like the fact that they could look at that Trump tweet and go, oh no, that was him calling for peace, and then you've got like the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota that are giving these impassioned pleas for peaceful, and they're like, well, I don't know, that doesn't seem peaceful. It's.
No, but the idea, the stay peaceful tweet is not the same tweet as the Mike Pence tweet. The Mike Pence tweet was like
where they say
minutes in.
I mean, I agree with the dude who has the anime avatar character here. It may not work for the MAGA people that you're debating against, of course. They're never going to concede any point. But the point is to point it out to the audience. Because the audience may not be aware, and the audience wants to see that these people are being bad faith.
To start with, like the immediate concession, like the hard line of he tried to take advantage of it, he stoked it, he tacitly admitted it. Like I agree with your conclusion.
We're gonna do a deep dive on January 6th one of these days. We're gonna go through the case documents. We're gonna go through the timeline. We're gonna do all that stuff.
Like I think those require
intuition on other things that you don't share with the person you're talking to. Whereas, like, did he wait 30 minutes and then text Mike Pence didn't have the courage that needed to be done when he learned about the riots? Like,
see, that's one of those
minutes
examples
earlier?
where, like I was
Like,
saying
there's no-
earlier,
maybe
I would force him,
I
like,
get someone will
do you
be
acknowledge, yes or no,
That's like starting-
that
I mean,
Donald
that's
Trump
true, but
behind
we
the
saw it in
scenes was trying to pressure congressmen
It's true, but we saw it in
to
real time, like, where
obey
like,
the
oh,
demands
like,
of
no,
the
it's
violent
bad,
mob
but,
that was
like,
outside,
they're always like, no,
while
it's
the
not
violent
bad,
mob
but
was
there's always some
outside
kind of
breaking into the
excuse for it.
Capitol.
I've
Yes or
listened
no?
to
Do you acknowledge
every
that?
interaction.
Oh well, no, no.
Is made, if it's ever
Do
made,
you
it's made
acknowledge
like
that
an
he did
hour
that? Yes or no?
conversation under
Because we're gonna sit
someone's
here
breath,
and I'm
and
gonna
the
pull
other
up the
person doesn't
documents and
hear
everything.
it,
We're gonna
talking
force you to
over it. And,
fucking
like,
see
the
it. It's
one
gonna be
time,
like that
it was like
that
Destiny
movie.
Disco at some point.
A Clockwork Orange. I'm gonna force your goddamn eyes open until you look at it. All right, we're gonna do this to you. We're gonna force you to look at the fucking evidence,
The
okay?
other person shut the
Acknowledge
fuck
it.
up after that point.
We're not
They
gonna let
didn't
you, like,
say
literally
anything.
every
dance
single,
around it.
Literally every single thing. Like the issue is, like I agree, but like this kind of goes back to the whole issue with debating these people and why like we don't need to take it super seriously. Is that like they don't care? They'll hear it and they'll like whatever, and they'll make any.
You should take it
excuse for
seriously, but you gotta remember, like, you're not really there to convince them. They're full of shit. They're always gonna play games. They're always gonna like play word games.
I have
And,
though,
they'll never concede anything. You take it seriously for the audience.
People who want still in, but I guess
You're trying to convince the audience. You're trying to illustrate to the audience and expose them to the audience.
Well, we shouldn't even take these people seriously. They're not serious people. We shouldn't debate them seriously. Is that we have people who do take them seriously watching, and whether they should or not.
I think that this is fair.
And I think that when we refuse to even engage, when it looks like we're just not engaging with what they're saying, it does hurt us optically, and it does hurt us in persuasive power.
Sure, we should engage.
I agree with that. You can't just let them
we should engage, but we also
go
don't
their
need
nonsense
to, like,
online without.
You know, like I think Destiny did it really well. Where it's like, why are we talking about whether or not the insurrection should be applied when they can't even acknowledge whether or not the icing was like? You should push them on like being able to agree on facts, and if they can't agree on simple facts, and where's the conversation going, right? Why does this administration have any authority if they can just lie blatantly lie?
That is an issue. Is that the conversation will kind of move on past them, like
to remind people that they're
making
lying,
shit up or lying or not actually having examples for the things that they're saying. It's not really okay to just move the conversation on.
We didn't get to actually have the conversation at all, and that sucked.
We could have. If they would have underlying facts, though, we could have, but.
But that's the point. This conversation starting on a ground where it's impossible to have because, like, the underlying facts matter. When we talk about why we're like invoking the Insurrection Act, the underlying facts of that matters. And if they can't agree to those underlying facts, and they can't agree that Donald Trump lied about those.
Yeah, and I think the thing you need to do is you actually need to sit there and adjudicate those specific points. And if the whole debate winds up getting stalled out on that one point, that's on them. And I think that you should illustrate that to the audience. That, hey, like, we have this evidence. We've been trying to point it out to these motherfuckers for like the past hour. And they are so full of shit and so lost in the sauce that we weren't even able to have like a constructive conversation because they could not acknowledge
both
base reality.
I would say it's a level of negligent recklessness. He's reckless. Like if he cared about this, then he would know the facts. And the fact that he doesn't care about it, it means that even if it's unintentional, it's basically the same as. It's up to the level of like gross negligence.
Same as.
Because I feel like I don't remember because I remember just seeing it like on my feed, but I feel like Drew's tweets like massively changed when Trump won, and like then when he saw the momentum behind Charlie Kirk, it feels like every time something happens,
a lot of them do that. I feel like people like Dave Rubin, or not Dave Rubin, Dave Smith does that, where he tries to pretend that he's a libertarian. He'll have criticism of Trump, and then the momentum will shift, and he'll be like right back to same thing with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had a few small criticisms of like ICE lately, and then he kind of waffles. It's like depending on who he thinks the audience is, or depending on how he thinks the momentum is shifting that day, he'll kind of shift.
He just doesn't care. It might not even be like a conscious thing. He just doesn't care.
Okay.
I think it's just the basic selective skepticism. Like you just like are convinced of like fundamental truth.
Mitty, real quick. Soypill has to say something.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. But like, I'm not saying you can never talk to these people. But obviously, like, I would love to have like when you did Me versus the World, you had all these dipshits on. Great, cool. The problem is that you're holding a debate and you're presenting this as two people representing each side, which is not what's happening. Now, granted, for a lot of MAGA stuff, everyone is this much of a lying, grifting piece of shit. But for the most part, if you take someone who is completely grifting and lying and misrepresenting just to fill the position that you're saying is the legitimate other side of the conversation, you are enabling that. If you want to have Drew on,
the question then is going to be like, where do you actually pull good faith MAGA representatives from? And I don't know. I don't know if that exists, really.
I don't mind you.
They do represent the side, though.
Drew.
They do represent that side.
No, he doesn't.
They do.
No, we just talked about this. Drew does not genuinely believe what he's saying. That's the point.
But he is a thought leader on the right for MAGA.
Dodge the fact he's that sure.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that
so again,
representing
he is a representative of the side, and as you say, if you can show that the representatives of these people's sides are lying grifters, isn't that a W for you, right?
I think so. I think he has a good point there, and I think that part of the issue though is I don't know if Whicks, the way that he manages his debates, actually allows for the adjudication of points like that. I think he kind of allows them to weasel out on tangents or to just kind of move past, not acknowledging, facts or statistics. And I think when you do that, you're not actually exposing the bad faith to the audience, kind of glossing over everything.
Give me my $10 back.
Okay. No. Bye. See you later. Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna cycle a couple of you out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Just real quick before I gotta go.
No, you can stay. We're not doing this fairly. Okay.
No, I should drop it anyway, but I sent you a video. You should play it. Okay.
What is it?
I'll see you later, man.
Okay. See you later, man. Okay, new people.
Play the video.
What do you got? You're live.
Oh, hey, I noticed. I didn't expect to be dragged in, truly.
Okay, do you have anything, or should we go to other people?
What is going on?
Okay, beautiful. Let's have someone else. What do you got, Mr. B? I guess.
You got Robert Paulson.
Yeah, it's Babza. It's fine.
Go
Oh
ahead.
shit! I didn't notice what his
guitar
was.
But
you guys have seen Fight Club, right?
Sorry.
Fight Club.
Going to
Robert
Robert
Paulson.
No, because I went to.
Okay, Robert
Bro,
Paulson.
what the?
I don't know what that was. What are we doing here, gang? Come on.
Maybe if you drag me in, motherfucker.
Taxes was feeling unwelcome.
Actually have like a real conversation here.
Well, we are. This has been a great call-in section of the stream. Love to see it.
Okay. But a lot of these people aren't serious. I think that's kind of going to what,
Jesus.
What
Soy Pill was
saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think you are giving them kind of a sliding scale, and I do understand that because conservatives.
True. He's holding them to like a lower standard of behavior.
I think that's understandable, but I think it's kind of like you guys are talking past.
But I think there's like such a subconscious thing. I think our culture just does this in general. I think this has been like 10 years of conditioning our culture to allow conservatives to kind of operate at a lower threshold of behavior and good faith.
Ignorance is what betrays the fact that they're lying.
Okay.
If someone just
That's why I brought up the thing about like drawing the Hunter Biden cock, because they know every single fucking thing about their chosen conspiracies, but they don't know about the largest, craziest fucking things happen on the conservative side. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree with you, but this guy's interesting.
You ask them these questions, a lot of them are going to be like, "Oh, I don't know," and they might not know, but
that's
people,
not
they do
acceptable.
They live and breathe this, so
it's not acceptable for them to just not know about.
If I'm gonna criticize Destiny here because the other guy isn't here. Soundboard got a little cringe after the second time, probably.
I thought it was based every time, actually. I think it actually got more funny every single time I used it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
it was funny the first time. Yeah, I'll give you that, but it just was like
really into that sound lately.
Thing that I really
By the way, actually,
these conservatives, they
guys hear that?
On the point about California having a net negative, leaving the state of California.
That's not true anymore, by the way.
Failure of the California state.
That's not true anymore. And even when it was true, it's like less than 1% of the California population. It's just natural ebb and flow of
United States. Net
population sizes.
Immigration loss in the United States is seen as this huge win. That's a big thing. That
they just real quick to kind of like short circuit you a little bit. Yes, they don't want immigrants and they want less immigrants. So for them, it is a win.
So not to get too nerdy, right? Like, if we're playing any kind of game where you have like worker management, if
I'm
you're
like
just
server
saying,
muted.
Hey,
I think I pissed them off last time I came in. I kind of trolled a few of them.
But what
I don't know if my camera shows up on it.
The answer to that is we're not an economic zone. That what they would say is we're not an economic zone. We're a people. We're a bloodline. We're a culture. And they worry that immigrants will change the culture, and a lot of them that's code for white replacement and shit like that, right?
Yeah, this is the point that I wanted to bring up if they pull me on, which is
because they don't care about that.
Yeah, the point that I was going to make is that they do constantly talk about like the issue with immigration. They think is that it's going to shift the culture, shift the voting trends, and that we're going to lose all these aspects about what makes the American system so great. But then they're justifying the erosion of our civil liberties and our constitutional order to preempt the idea that they're going to stop immigrants from doing that very same thing. And that's a really weird contradiction that I think more people point out.
Whether the GDP go up a point or two, right? They would argue that immigration hurts the culture. We are not an economic zone. We are a people. We are a bloodline, and it pollutes our bloodline, basically.
Right, and my answer to that would be the fact that since the inception of the United States, we have been a country of immigrants, and we have.
Bro, that's old. No one cares. Find some new talking points.
But
no one cares about that.
Aside from that, like, I don't really have any other.
Sure. What do you got? Friendly Test and Rinyald. What do you got?
Hello. I am. Oh wait, do you want to go first, buddy?
No, go nuts, man. Go crazy.
I am Team Wick. Okay. I want to ask, like, when we have debates like that, what are we angling for? Like, what's the point of doing those? Because like, I don't think there's a world where like anybody watches that and comes out with like more information in regard to the Insurrection Act or with like a better view of anybody who's not, you know,
well, it's
pro-MAGA.
Interesting to bring that up, man. That's actually the reason I'm here. The fact that like all these guys kind of jump on. So Destiny at one point in time, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge fan of Destiny, but the fact that all those guys jumped on like all at once, and they kind of nitpick at each thing they like about Trump, like it's a weird sushi train, you know, taking what they like, gobbling it up, and then hating everything else, despite the fact that the entire sushi
just being vague about what they disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that they keep doing this over and over and over again, representing what they enjoy, but trying to dissuade themselves from being connected to Trump in any regard is insane because it's all been tainted. So it's very interesting to see these guys jump on, make these conversations over and over and over again, despite the fact that it's all poison.
I agree.
I guess these guys are all talking about the same points.
I agree with the overview of like how corrosive MAGA mindsets are, but I feel like we're slowly working to the point where debate just isn't useful anymore, right? Because like we're not changing anybody's minds here. I don't think we're changing, like what it used to be is that you change the viewers' minds through debate, right? Like you kind of use, you know how like in video essays they do.
I
like
definitely agree with that. I think it comes down more about the format. If you just allow MAGA to like say talking points and you don't actually adjudicate those talking points,
see like any,
and you just kind of gloss over it, that's where you're not changing any minds. You're actually affecting the way the audience.
Which if it's all memeing, then it's all memeing. But
you can, I think it just comes down to the format.
The angle was the entire time, or like were we expecting to have a productive conversation there?
I'm not the moderator. What do you guys?
I feel like
I think that question is to Destiny, right? Like I was expecting a productive conversation, or at least maybe not productive, but at least we would talk about the issues at hand instead of you're lying, right?
My goal was to have a conversation, but we have to establish a shared reality. And then if we weren't going to establish a shared reality, then my goal was to just meme into fucking oblivion. Because this is what you would do with any single topic in the history of everything. We can bring up any concept of engineering or science or math or whatever you want. If somebody didn't have a basic fundamental groundwork of what they were talking about, you wouldn't entertain a higher level conversation. Nobody would waste their time on that. Nobody would do it. This is true in gaming. People who try to talk strats or whatever in StarCraft or League, and they're like fucking Silver League players. Why the fuck were you talking serious? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're a little noob. No offense, but it would be the same thing with the concept. If you don't even know the basic facts of a thing, then why would you discuss the application of the Insurrection Act to it? It's stupid.
I partially agree, but I feel like that argument could probably be used against debating MAGA period at this point, because like almost any Trump supporter that you're going to be able to talk to is either going to be so mind-numbingly retarded on everything that they're not going to have a solid position, or they're going to be lying because they have a position and they can't defend it. Right. So like I don't even know why we debate with Republicans.
They're not full-fledged MAGA, man. They're not like they're individuals that just pick and choose.
They always say that, but you could tell that they are because there's nothing that they actually hold the administration accountable for.
I don't even know why we would debate with these people if like the bar is we can't engage in ideas because the person that's delivering the ideas is bad faith. Like, I agree that's the case, but then it kind of feels like debate as a concept is kind of dead at that point, right?
Until they kind of get the idea that their ideas are already tainted by the fact that they're supporting basically a regime that's doing absolute damage to the American system as a whole, it doesn't matter at this point, right?
Well, I think that the
Like
fact
they're
that
holding up a house
hold on, just real quick, if I may, then I want to hear
then.
from the rest of you, right? If I may, though, like I think that one of the not the only
If he
driver,
may, it's his
maybe
own
not
sword.
even the main driver, but a substantial driver of why things are going the way they are going politically for MAGA right now, and I think they're going to suffer. They're going to suffer a wild defeat in the midterms, right? Is because this keeps happening on not just Wick TV, right, but on actual CNN, on MSNBC, and all these kind of news organizations, these interviews with high-profile people. It's clear that, like, did you guys see Jake Tapper versus Kristi Noem? Did you guys see that debate that they had?
I think the issue is that I don't think most people see
clear
those things.
Kristi Noem
We
had
do
no idea
because
what
we're
she was
politically
talking
tuned in, we're plugged in, but the average voter doesn't see those
that
things.
Jake Tapper was
I think it's
able
very
to just
normal for the
calmly
average voter
go
to oscillate
through
between, well,
and
not the average
give
voter,
her
but
the facts and
the
showcase
voting
the
public
facts
overall
and kind
flips
of
back and forth
juxtapose
between both
his
parties.
knowledge and mastery of the
So I
topic
wouldn't,
versus someone who
I
was
wouldn't put
just
too much
there,
stock in the fact that they're
didn't know what
flipping
they were
around on the
talking
other
about.
side.
And I
on the
think that is
Republicans.
helping
Probably do the
us
same
do
thing.
that. But
in a
if
few
Jake
years and
Tapper
flip the
had
other
all
way.
he had done is just started memeing, I don't think it would have been as effective.
I think the interview, by the way, I think it was
We're not
very
interviewing
effective. The
individuals
exercise
from
that he
Trump
did.
administration. Like, literally
The
the
meeting needs to do
super
that a lot
important. I
more.
disagree with that.
natural
If he could have
citizens of the
gotten,
United States.
if he could have made her cry on TV, that would have been, we would have won every election immediately. They would have resigned from office. She needs to be crying on TV.
I think that's a kind of a mean position. Tess, do you have anything, or are you just here to hang out?
No. I had 3 things. First of all, I was a bit mad that you didn't read my super chat.
Which one is it? I'll read it
but
right now.
No. I can say it myself. So
Let him be mad.
The point.
I made fun about the fact that you could establish that the church protesters were actually just praying very loudly. So everyone just prayed on their own, and basically
Well,
taking
you guys
them out of the church would have
you guys do know
obstructed
that
their
a lot
faith.
of people are in you might I think it's a little silly, but a lot of people are justifiably angry at what happened at that church. Like, they did disrupt
Yeah, I
the
think that
service.
if you don't,
I think that the right is taking
I think
it
if
way
you
out of
think
proportion,
that this is
right?
a highly
And I
defensible
think that
position for
honestly,
liberals and stuff like that,
sometimes
Look,
I think you're out of
I am being
touch.
good faith. They're not here anymore, so you know I'm not lying to you. But
Yeah.
okay, I'm not lying to you.
bad optically.
I really did look for videos of what the fuck people were talking about. I saw videos, I think, of for less than an hour, people were inside of a church protesting. I didn't see anybody telling them to leave or asking them to leave. Maybe somebody did off camera. I don't know if I saw cops show up or not. Like, what the fuck happened?
All that might be true too, but
So,
you like the impression
I
that the
think
general
confused on
public
that as
has is
well.
that
Yeah, as
you have
I
a bunch of
understand it,
protesters who are
they
like
organized a protest.
way out of
about
control
20
that
of
are
them. Don Lemon
harassing
was there to
churchgoers.
kind of,
That's not a good
be the
look.
reporter.
There's a lot of like
as I understand it, again, I watched this a couple days ago, right?
there's a lot of information that the average person has to know about that
But they came
situation in
in
order for
and
them
they
to see it in a
started
positive light. And
yelling
the average person
and
just does
shouting
not
at
engage with
the
the politics at that level.
congregation and
They just
the
see a bunch of
pastor,
people
and they
yelling
were
at a
there
bunch
to
of
protest
churchgoers.
guys.
And it looked
They
bad.
started going around yelling, screaming, etc. I don't think it was appropriate, frankly. I think there's good reasons not to allow protests in a church, but I think that calling it like an attack was kind of
Yeah,
well,
that's
okay, so like my
stupid,
question
and I
is
think
like
that's
one.
pretty
And I know this
obvious
sounds really
deal.
pedantic, but
It's
I'm
not the
like, did
same as
anybody
like
ask them to
people
leave
getting
or tell them to
assaulted.
leave?
I didn't hear that, but I
And that's a good question
yeah,
to have
I don't know.
in a debate like this. Not a bad question to have.
But Wick,
Because like I don't think that's
really
illegal,
good
right? Like
is
anybody can walk into most churches and then start.
Yeah, you
can
can
start
start.
shouting,
You
and
can
then if
start.
they tell you to leave, then you don't
Yeah.
leave, then it's illegal. It's
The
trespassing.
legality is one
Kicked out of
question.
residence.
What does it
Yeah,
look
when
like
I was
optically is a
active,
separate
when I was
question,
active
and I
when
don't
I was
think it
growing
looked
up
very good to the
in the
average
Mormon church and stuff, we would have on occasion, and it happened 2 or 3 times, where someone would actually actively challenge the preacher or whoever was speaking, and things like that. And they again had a discourse. There was a point, at least in one of them, where we did escort the guy out because he was just yelling, screaming, and disrupting everything, right? But yeah, the other 2, it was fine. But I think it's kind of like, if they're actively trying to have a conversation, it's one thing, but if they're just actively screaming, I think it's fair for the church to be like, get the fuck out of here. You're not.
Yeah, that's no one is disputing that. I'm just asking, did they say that?
Did they ask them to leave? I don't
insurrection,
know.
right?
I don't know. If
But do you
anyone in
understand
chat
how
has a
problematic it
clip,
is that nobody even knows this? And I only watched an hour of the video, maybe. But so like my intuition is that nobody even told him to leave, because I feel like if that was the case, we would just have video of that, and the conservatives would be screaming about that. But if I were to listen
people in
to,
chat are saying they do.
like,
If you have a clip of them asking them to leave, send it to me. I will play it on
yeah,
stream.
I'm just curious because like
I'll
I said,
play
I
it on
watched about an
stream.
hour, I think, of the Don Lemon stuff,
If
and
they
I
did,
couldn't.
then they should have left. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I said,
to what the one guy here was talking about, it sounds like
it.
there was like a fucking like a riot at the church, and like the building's being destroyed.
Yeah, and that's
that, like,
I think
people
that's
being
worth pushing
attacked
back
or
on, because I think your average
threatened, and I
person
don't
can
know,
look at
I just
that
like
and
kind
go
of
like, you know,
people were
Yeah,
inside.
this
people are
is
saying that there are,
like
but
maybe
send them to
harassment,
my DMs and we will
but to
watch
characterize it
but,
as an
like,
attack, like an assault, is bullshit. I think most people can recognize it pretty easily.
Anyway, sorry,
Meanwhile,
Tess,
can I
I
ask a
interrupted you.
question,
Go ahead,
Destiny?
continue.
I like my second thing was I'm a bit confused about, like, we know that on May 11th of 2023 Title 42 expired, and on May 23rd of 2024 the Senate voted down the border bill. So basically, Trump has time until the February 1st to establish a bill to seal the border, or otherwise he objectively is worse in sealing the border via legislation than Biden, which is kind of funny.
I mean, Republicans don't even want a bill, right? Like that's something that they probably say. So
Yes. They'll say that the executive order was enough, and they don't actually like the idea of having more asylum judges, and they just want them all fucking thrown out or whatever.
We didn't need new legislation.
By the way,
we
that's
needed
how
a
you
new
could tell
president.
that it's not just about legal versus illegal.
Trump showed that he could do what
when
we
you talk
needed
about
to
the
do- what
border
needed to
bill,
be
a lot of
done,
them will
just
say
as the
that
president
the
without
5,000
needing
encounters where they're
Congress
adjudicated
to
more
do it.
immigration judges to adjudicate those
And the
cases.
last thing
They don't
I
even want that
wanted
because they just
to,
don't want immigrants
ask
at
is
all.
why
Period.
didn't no one
It's
address
not about
the
legal
fact
versus
that,
legal.
like, the Ash guy at the beginning in his opening statement said that the people voted for Trump to do this shit, but basically the people where Trump does his shit voted against him, like Minnesota, California.
Oh yeah, there's
Florida.
that, but there's
So
also
basically,
like,
kind of-
no, we don't live in a
I kind of brought
system
this up
where
when I, like,
you
that's
vote
just
for
like
a president and the
stupid
president
point.
can
Like,
do whatever
people
the fuck
just
they
because somebody
want.
votes for the president to do a thing doesn't mean
They
he
make
has
this point all
unilateral
the
authority
time.
to
They
do
make the
whatever
point
he
that, you know,
wants. It's like an
democracy,
independent
pure
country.
democracy would be
But yeah, I mean,
tyranny of
like,
the
to your point,
majority,
even more specifically,
and that we have a representative
like,
Republican
they also
voting
feel
government
that
so that we
like
can
the
protect
most
constitutional
specifics
republic,
there, he was saying
so that we can
literally,
protect
like,
people's rights and they're not up
everything
for the
he's doing
vote
with
kind of
ISIS
thing.
right
But
now
like,
is okay.
you know,
basically because people voted for it. It's just, it was a
that.
stupid talking point.
I mean, by that
Like,
standard, the people
funding's going to
voted for the
come into
Biden
measure here
border
at some point in
invasion,
time.
right?
That's going to be an issue for them, right?
The people what?
That funding is going to become an issue for him in regards to ICE. Hey, sorry, excuse me. Like at some point in time, Congress is going to look at the funding that they're actually attributing to ICE, and that's going to become
Are
a
they?
problem in a month.
I
Is it
mean, they
not?
just looked at it and they
I don't
approved
know.
like another
I don't know.
budget.
When you say
Talked
Congress, I
about
don't know what
this
they. I'm
funding
not
for them,
actually sure
so
what they do anymore, so I don't know.
We talked about this
just kind of rubber
backstage,
stamp
and
whenever the
it
administration.
seems like the Democrats actually become the party of states' rights when it comes to
Democratic Party was never not the
this
party
kind
of
of
states'
thing.
rights.
Yeah.
States' rights are just not
Well, I'm
they're
gonna
not
cycle a couple of
universal.
you. I want
It's
to
a
get as many
balance.
people as I
The
can.
balance
so
between
if I can keep
federalism
it
and
going.
states' rights. It's never been like.
Love you, Wick. Oh my.
Okay, you're live.
Howard.
Oh well, not him. Okay, you're live, gang.
What? What's up?
Okay, gang. Don't hit join voice.
Gang,
when I
gang.
pull you in. You have something to say? Say. Right, go ahead. You're live.
Good one, guys.
Hello?
Yeah, you're here to talk to the show. What do you have to say?
I'm talking.
Okay, what do you got?
Hello, Kirk Henry. I just joined
This guy
backstage.
looks
I don't know what
pain
the
or
fuck
something.
was going on. I just got randomly pulled in here, so that's why.
Okay, well, great. What about you, MK? You got anything? You're deafened still? Okay, we're just gonna cycle both of you out. I'm sorry. Okay.
Whoa. Hey,
You're live.
how's it going?
Yeah. What do you got?
So, I
I just more had a comment, I guess.
They don't want my smoke on the stream.
One of the things that bothers me about shit like this, like dealing with these kind of people.
Fuck.
So I have a PhD in chemistry with a focus in atmospheric science. You can kind of guess how that goes
Totally relevant.
normally with conservatives because they believe fucking global warming's fake. They believe all this other shit. This is more of like, do you have advice on how to handle somebody like that you know personally that does this kind of shit to you? Because I know people that personally believe the shit I do in real life is completely fake, and I don't know if I just.
Told you Best Buy had a great deal.
98-inch Samsung, big with no.
Members about like vaccines and stupid shit, everything too. Yeah, I feel really bad. I'm glad I don't have that shit. Well, I guess my mom does it for me with debaters and stuff. So
my immediate family is like super lib, but it's like it's insane to have to deal with, and I know you've had to deal with it as well with your family. So it's like I don't even know how to address that shit when they bring it up at this point, because it's like I don't live in the same reality with these people. But obviously I can't.
No clue.
I can't meme like you guys can out of the. For the content. So that's all I wanted to say.
Saying, you can have that discussion,
that's true.
But they have to pay you to do it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
Is that technically consulting?
Probably. What about you other guys? What do you got?
So I guess for Destiny, do you feel like the way that you conduct yourself now in these debates is better or worse than like say 2 years ago? Because I feel like better. 2 years ago when I watched your content, well, I guess I clearly
I can't really hear another audio from.
I felt like you were going into these conservative spaces and you were kind of making a mockery of them just by how much facts and knowledge that you have on all these different topics, and every time they would try to stray down some alley that you just
appreciate you
prepared for it and you would just shut them down. And it kind of, I could see your audience growing during that time as well, and it's kind of stagnated, and I feel like it's because you've switched to more of this aggressive, which is like good for, I guess, the liberal side. But I don't really know how.
Well, I've perceived that too. I think the last year's more has to do with the fact that an insane conservative and then an e-whore decided to fucking do a year worth of.
I think he's been pretty rusty. My impression of that has been that because the right wing is so lazy right now in terms of their argument,
kind of like centrist people or conservatives, like that reach is probably less. But right now, I'm more just kind of like, I think that liberals should have some fun times and have some things to. Stand taller on, I think, is a more important thing right now. That's what I'm more interested in. I don't care if conservatives don't like me as much. I think that these people have proven that they're get little to no consideration intellectually or morally at the moment. I'm not interested in kind of like trying to appeal to them the same way that when all the conservatives were doing their Ben Shapiro fucking mentally rapes college students and Milo Yiannopoulos fucking obliterates tranny losers and all this, like they didn't seem to give much of a fuck about how do we appeal to the left. All they did was constantly shit on people on our side, dehumanize and whatever else they could do to anybody on our side while making their side feel all hip and cool and everything else. And I think it'd be better to have like a stronger liberal side. And I think that, so while I might lose the reach with conservatives, I just think that liberals should have a stronger voice. And then it also helps us kind of like ward off the CCP page shills like Hassan Piker and everything from the left too, because there's like a stronger liberal side that you can actually point to. You don't have to feel embarrassed when he's like, oh, I support like the liberal candidate or the liberal movement, because you have things that you can speak positively of, like stronger positions they have, rather than this endless apologia that you have to play in order to get conservatives to like acknowledge that you have a legitimate point before they, waddle on down to the voting booth to vote for a conservative again.
I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. I think the center right though is where, like, that's kind of where I was. I was center left and then I kind of moved center right, and then watching your content pulled me back. And I do feel like at the end of the day with these elections and these debates, like you're just fighting over the center, the extremes, you're never going to win. And I just feel like it's I don't know. I understand everything you're saying. It just,
yeah, but I mean, think about it. How did the right win the center over the last couple of years? They made it cool and hip. They made it especially among men, to dunk on liberals and dunk on liberalism and be conservative. So we got to kind of shift it back in the opposite direction.
I feel like the content now that definitely doesn't work. They don't even.
It's not, frankly speaking, it's not going to be won by intellectual appeal.
I feel like what he's saying.
We've had that for decades now. That's not. That's not at the moment. Unfortunately,
you know what? Here's a challenge that I would give to you, because I've had friends that are conservatives that I've had this personal. These have gotten really nasty. Actually, if you read Lauren's book or whatever, we met in New York, this was part of the argument that I had with her, because she would always do this thing where she'd be like, oh, well, when you were being nicer to conservatives, you had a better time communicating them, blah, blah, blah. And one of my huge points was, show me a single fucking conversation, one conversation you've had with a conservative friend where you've told them that they're going too hard. And for her, she couldn't give me a single fucking one. None. And there's always some excuse, well, I expect you to act better, or you read blah, blah, blah. It's like bullshit. Like this is the double standard is crazy. I'm curious, if I were to ask you, and I mean, you don't have to show me conversation, but like, are you also like, are you telling your conservative friends, like, you're way overboard, bro, like you need to chill out, like this is really dehumanizing, or it's crazy how they're attacking trans people or immigrants or minorities like this? Like, it just seems like there's never that same hand-wringing on the right.
I mean, I definitely, with my parents, with friends that I have, like coworkers that are super right-leaning, I always kind of, if somebody's really extreme, I tend to, I don't know what you would call it, I guess a contrarian, but if somebody's swinging way too hard one way, I will definitely try to orbit the other way of like trying to get them to realize how ridiculous what they're saying. So I
Well, sure, but wait, real quick. When you say swinging too hard one way, in my mind, the swinging too hard one way is the policy positions of the current administration. Not like they're saying like, oh, we need to have death camps, but like the current policy position of the current administration is swinging too far one way. So if somebody's out here and they're saying like, well, right now I think I just support, like ICE breaking into people's houses and like deporting people and not even really getting proper warrants to do it. And I think that Trump is actually within his rights to be jailing and arresting political dissidents in the United States and everything. Like that, in my mind, if you're just saying like, okay, well, I can respect your position, and then you turn to somebody like me on the left, like Destiny, you're going way too hard when you're making fun of these people for not knowing basic facts or anything they're talking about. In my mind, like this is not an equivalent. This is not a world that I accept. That's what I mean. Yeah.
It's also a question I've had for a while.
No, just
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
Tex,
no, just
yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, like when you say this, that where are the people who are saying, hey, you're going too far on the liberals, hey, you're going too far on the left, you need to tone it down. I can't point to a talking head who said that off the top of my head, but I can point to friends and family members who I know voted for Trump and who have defended me when other family members, other friends accost me and say, oh, you're a baby killer because you're a liberal.
Yeah,
oh, you're this.
What's
they have absolutely stood up
I
and
don't
said,
care.
no, you need
Those
to
family
stop.
and friends that you're talking about are even worse human beings because they're incapable of extending the personal empathy that they have towards you for people that aren't in their immediate vicinity. I always say that these people need to be locked in mental institutions forever because I think you have severe cognitive impairment if you can't imagine a thing that exists outside of the room that you're in.
It's not
that I
about
could walk into
imagining
one of these
a thing that
people's rooms,
exists.
I could steal their wallet, and then I could put my hands over my face and they would go, where did he go? I can't see him anymore. That's crazy to me.
You asked for a
Maybe
situation
a little too hard there, I
where
think.
there was a conversation where they were saying, hey, you're going too hard on the left. I gave you an
No,
example
not
of
on the
that.
left, but you didn't say on the left. You said it was on you personally. That's fine that they're defending you personally because you're a family or friend, but I'm talking about a general check on the rhetoric in general on the right versus the left. I never heard people on the right do this to themselves.
Oh, so you're saying a right-leaning person that checks
It's telling
another
other right-leaning people
right
like,
to
hey,
tone it
bro,
down,
like
the
maybe
left
this is
isn't
like a
all
little too
evil,
much.
the
I
left
never
isn't
hear
all
that.
bad. I've heard, well, not the left, but liberals aren't all
I'm gonna
evil.
mute the
Liberals
stream that they're doing. I'm gonna see what's going on. Over their conversation.
Existed before the establishment of ICE prior to 2001.
When was that?
Following that,
come
why does ICE give a large amount of power to the president? Like, it's insane.
Okay,
And
no.
what
So
happens when
before
a
that
president
point,
decides to use that power to a distinguished mark that's almost impossible? They literally
Trump
take
is the
as
first
many
person to
ICE
actually do
agents
this,
as they
right?
can.
No.
Yes, but it's
Hold
not
on.
surprising.
So you're looking at ICE under Trump's regime. Okay, so I'm looking at ICE going forward from 2001. Going back to 2001, because you have ICE agents who are in there who are legitimate ICE agents who are there to just
My brother
do the
worked for
job that
ICE,
they were
and
hired to do.
he established the same problems that I'm presenting to you right now. Like, quite literally, because of the powers that immigration law gives the president, creating a police force under that precedent gives them ultimate power to the point where literally no one can question or confirm them. And that's following a memo that literally says, forget warrants.
It only depends on what they are supposed to do.
What memo are you talking about? What memo are you talking about?
So,
Because if this
there
was
was
the
a
case,
memo that was
talking about that
leaked.
secret memo that came.
There was a memo that was leaked that literally goes
memo
over
is
the
not
fact
policy,
that
it's
you
not
should
law.
overlook. And this was such a secretive memo that they would literally tell people, like, you can't have a copy of it until it was leaked just recently.
We're
Yeah,
back
why
on
would you be
track.
hiding
She
that,
said,
by the way?
she said reformed. Like, why are we having the discussion of how ICE is operating now? That has nothing to do with what she's saying.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
how
it
How is
absolutely
it?
does, because
The examples need to be ICE from 2010.
this is the
And is a
unenlisted power
secret
that ICE
memo
has
actually a
under the
memo?
president. It's disgusting.
No.
The fact
So
that the
I don't think you're
president can literally
understanding.
enlist him like some kind
I
of BS
don't think
test.
you're
It's
understanding the
crazy.
point I'm making. I don't think you're understanding the point I'm making here. Because the point I'm making here is that ICE was utilized properly under Obama because he was the deporter in chief, right? So he was using it properly to deport people who were, I guess, actually they're at the border specifically.
That's also not true. Primarily under that situation, he was using ICE as the enforcement measure to operate when it came to cartels. This is the major point that was coming out of that. It's not easy to talk about that.
So again, he's using it properly. So my thing is
ICE was not necessarily enlisted as a cartel measure. It was not enlisted for that measure specifically.
So my overall point is that we don't abolish ICE, right?
So sorry, really quickly, Mackie, could you talk? I thought I heard their voices in your microphone. Could you talk a little bit?
Hello.
Two. Okay, I don't know what it is. Someone's
It can't
echoing.
be
I don't
me.
know.
I have a
Doesn't
very
matter.
sophisticated sound setup. Okay.
Am I echoing? Can you hear me right now? I'm talking by myself. Can you hear me?
No.
My apologies, Mackie. Someone was echoing.
Can you hear me? Accuse me as much as you want.
Don't worry about it. Keep talking.
It could be echoing while I'm talking.
It's okay.
Right. So do you understand the point that I'm making, that ICE should not be abolished but defunded and reformed back to how it was previously? Because there are ICE agents.
So
there are ICE agents that are
this is very different. This is very different because, again, when we're talking about like the FBI and things of this nature,
I'm sorry,
we actually have a
what
police
is very
enforcement.
different?
Yeah, I'd blow up the whole
What is
fucking
very
thing just
different?
to get rid of
Because,
people.
like,
It's a
for
cultural
instance,
problem.
the
Many of
FBI
these
falls under the
agents
president's
are
domain,
comfortable
right?
with violating people's rights and stuff. So that's really what needs to happen.
So
is
I'm
you need
asking
to
you, what is very
blow it up,
different?
get rid of the
Okay,
people
I'm not
in
asking you
it,
about
restructure it with new
because
hires, new leadership.
quite literally, as of right now, one of the biggest
I'd rename it
powers that
too.
the president holds when
Don't
it comes
have
to
the old stank
enforcement
of the
is
last
ICE,
version on it.
and it's a disgusting amount of power. Whether or not somebody uses that
I don't
correctly
think you're
doesn't matter.
actually.
It's
I
the
don't think you're
enlisted power
actually
that's been
engaging
given
with
to
the
these two
argument
are
I'm
really
making here.
disagreeing with
I
each
don't think
other.
you're
There's
actually
lots of big
engaging with the
debate.
argument I'm making here. So the argument.
Can you explain why?
Because the argument I am making
Debate
here
limits, just
is
debate to
that
debate
ICE should
sometimes.
be. Do you understand what the terms of reformed and defunded mean?
You're literally reforming and defunding the position of the president who enlists immigration policy under enforcement. It's one of the largest powers the president holds currently under enforcement.
Did you have a problem with ICE in 2010?
Oh my god. One at a time.
Yes, I did.
Okay, why?
No, you did not understand because you keep talking about how you keep talking about how Trump is using ICE right now, right?
No, I'm talking about how ICE
is
an enlisted power under the president of the United States.
Right now,
before
I'm not
ICE,
talking about
because before ICE, we had Customs and Border Patrol, and their jurisdiction did not extend into American cities. So once you have American cities saying, "Hey, we're a sanctuary city," that means even if we find out that you're an illegal, we're not going to report you to cops. Then they're not going to.
It always has. That's not true. It always has.
It always
that's
has.
interesting. I didn't know that.
How would you reform it?
They have always had purview over enforcement 100 within 100 miles.
Oh, yeah, but that's not really what he means.
We're just making shit up, man.
Yeah.
No, if there is an illegal immigrant in the middle of Utah and they get found by the police and the police write them up and find out they're an illegal immigrant, Utah would have to report them to get Customs and Border Patrol involved.
You don't seem to understand this. Like just to clarify,
disconnect here is.
When a city
Anyways,
says
let me switch
city,
back.
they're literally saying they don't have to report immigrants. That's
Audio is
it.
fucking wild.
When it comes to
switch back to the actual stream.
Interested in, they can't present anything. Whenever Destiny debates people like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro, if you ask them about, what did you enjoy about it, the only thing they'd say is like, oh, I really enjoyed speaking to him. It's the one good person who can actually speak back, but they won't actually engage with any sort of arguments and then just go on with personal attacks when he's not there. It's just dumb. There's no point.
Yeah, those kind of debates, basically what's happening is it's like an opportunity for them to bounce their ideas off of the other person and just kind of be like a soundboard.
That's it.
But they're not actually like engaging to like change any minds or anything like that. That's kind of the issue with those.
People like us. They don't look stupid to their own kind.
No, I think they look stupid to the other side too. I do. I think that look, if you look at
this is the call out I'll make. Listen, this is a super simple call out I'll make. Okay, listen, I will just, as long as you can engage with the facts, it'll never get to this point. But if you start coming on here arguing some shit that the panel's about, and you don't even know like the basic fucking facts about a thing, then I'm just gonna make fun of you until you cry. That's it. I think it's a super reasonable, easy standard. You should know the basic facts about what you want to come on and talk about, I think.
Their most creative moments were when they were making personal attacks, because that's what they focus on. They have no interest in focusing on anything worthwhile.
I have a server mute
That's
here.
not what
And that's
they're
what.
doing.
Yes. Okay.
And
Stop
that's not
going
what
with
they
what they're
have been
doing.
doing.
We all disagree
They've been
with what
going
they're
in there
doing right
with
now.
they've been going with the
2010
AR-15s
ICE.
and fucking M15s. Like they've been doing this
Yes.
since 2001.
They've been policing cities since 2001. ICE has.
Yes, 100%.
That is just no. It's factually wrong.
Even though it's to a different degree, yes, they have. They've been interacting with
They have
police
been doing
on a distinguished
targeted.
level.
No, dude. They have been doing
You
targeted.
can look up instances where the
extractions.
police have gone in and they didn't know that there was already an ICE investigation going in, where they were actually going to go into a very similar cartel house at the same time. It's a completely separate, like, just to clarify, if the FBI are currently investigating something, they have a clear cut.
That is a good question. I wonder if FBI would have authority or one of the other agencies that have
with the
internal
local police, with the state
enforcement
police in those areas.
capabilities.
The ICE doesn't.
To cover it.
So there have been multiple areas where ICE has gone in, and the state or city or the FBI have gone in separately.
So to
because
change
they don't
that,
know
that would
what
require
ICE is
something
doing.
like a,
Or alternatively, I wonder if you can
right? I'd
structure
call that a
ICE in a way
reform.
where
Would
you're
be
explicitly
changing
calling
that
out in
in
the
the-
I wish that grid
That's not even a
structure
reform.
together
Reform.
and
That would be
of
reforming
the
it.
agency.
I want to know how
per
the
the
listen,
political
like
law that
anything,
Congress
anything
passes.
like if
Jesus
I
Christ,
said
they're so loud.
let's reform ICE,
Do you
the fact
think
that it
there
doesn't
should be?
exist, that's still a
Oh,
reform,
here.
right?
Okay. God damn, that's so fucking loud.
Administration or a federal agency that is able.
Yeah, I
to
wonder
find
if Congress can define in the structure of the agency that, you know, they have these limitations on their authority. I believe that you can. I don't think that, because I think what he's saying, his argument is that because the president kind of has like plenary authority over immigration enforcement, giving this agency allows him to do whatever the fuck he wants with it because there is no check on that. I don't believe that's actually true though, because I think the fact that the Constitution gives the power to create new agencies under Congress, any agency that Congress any agency that Congress has, or any agency that Congress creates, they do have dual authority over the agency per the constitutional structure, giving them the authority over the structuring of those agencies.
There was still a federal agency in charge of.
I wasn't super duper interested in this debate, but I might actually submit that topic in there.
With local agencies.
Yeah, they're all
If you want
specialized. Of course
I'm
they
waiting
are.
for her to
If
give
you
me a
wanna
server
up
on mute.
custom-
Sounds like she's probably going to in a second.
If you want to up customs in regards to how they operate when it comes to the illegality.
Let me actually
of
find the
immigration
congressional
within the States, that's fine.
Constitution,
Agency that supersedes
Congress
police, that
authority
supersedes judges
over
at this point in time, by the way,
creating
is
Yes,
insane.
reform them.
And that's the
Have
power
agencies.
that
Problem is,
Trump has
states
created.
don't have
Reform, not
immigration
abolish
laws.
reform.
Only the federal government does.
Abolish.
Article 1, Section 8,
Local
necessary and
police
proper
can't
clause
do
to
shit
create
about
structure. Yeah, so the necessary and proper clause is what I need to
Why
submit.
would local police have any issue in that regard?
What are we talking?
I don't know what the fuck you said. I'll be honest.
Like even in sanctuary cities where we had issues regarding customs problems, local police, state police are more than willing to work with customs in that regard. But now we have an enforcement agency enlisted directly within customs. That is scary. Because quite literally, just to clarify, that gives direct power to the president to enforce police action within states themselves. That's
I will say
terrifying.
that
Well, I
one,
don't think
agree
it's
with you,
supposed to.
but the other thing
Donald Trump does that, but I don't think it's supposed to work
can
that
someone
way.
Has
tell me
the
about how you would
allocation
reform it?
under the Terrorist Act to do that. That's why it's so terrifying.
Like, what are your ideas?
I mean, I
for
still feel like that
reform?
could be superseded by the necessary and proper clause of the Constitution, allowing the Congress to decide how they structure that agency and apply those kind of limitations if they so choose to. It's like the act that he's citing also comes from Congress. Congress should have the authority to override their own laws or like supersede one law with another law that they create, right?
Yeah, but
That's why I asked
Right.
the question. Do you guys think we should have an agency that is a federal agency that finds illegal immigrants and puts them?
I came into this kind of late, so now I'm kind of more fully understanding the full scope of this debate. I think they're debating.
If your answer is no, then I understand.
My understanding is where this debate probably started from context clues is whether or not we should reform the agency or whether or not we need to like delete it entirely, remake it again, or just delete it and never bring it again. That seems to be why they're having this debate here.
I think the FBI should do it. I think if you get into the country and you can
Hey
fucking
guys,
hide away for a certain amount of time, hey, you know, you won.
really
I
quick.
think
You're
yes, there
talking about
should be.
specific,
There always
only
has been.
specifically
This
people
is
that committed
nothing new.
crimes.
Sorry guys,
They
really
just
quickly.
upped the powers that were unlisted.
Just making sure that everyone knows that this is the room that people are being dragged into to
Yeah.
to the stream.
Yes.
Yeah, you understand
Wait,
that if you're
actually?
yes. So if you're here, that you're being sarcastic, right?
I'm sorry, I'm trolling. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. Because people are I've it's okay.
My bad. I apologize. That was
Appreciate it. No, please continue. So if you're here, you're gonna be dragged on. You might be dragged on stream. So have something.
How about we move channels from for those who don't want to be dragged and
Yeah, move to a different room, bro.
to Northern Alliance?
It's not that complicated.
Let them get dragged randomly. That's more funny. Come on, just let them.
No, it's a waste of people's time.
I got
Yeah, in
dragged
the middle
randomly. I can
screaming
handle
at
it.
somebody and you get dragged on. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's fucking comedy gold.
I've already been dragged and I got to say one word.
And got dragged out.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it's
come on.
extremely
Lovely.
no. It's extremely awkward on stream if you no. This is the purpose
Wait,
of
so
this
the
stream,
streamers-
of the backstage channel is that you gotta be, if you're here you gotta be. Sorry to be a killjoy, but you got if you're here you gotta be okay with being dragged on, and you gotta have
You
something.
gotta
to
give a
say.
shit.
I'm coming from the person that has in their name,
I
don't
didn't want to butt in and change the topic. So yeah.
Well, I did just to okay, understood. I just want to. I feel bad. I feel bad interrupting the conversation going on, but I just want to make sure.
I mean, the conversation needed a little bit of like a breather. Sorry.
I mean,
don't
as
know.
a matter of blue politics and
or
shit,
that,
we are unironically the
that'd be
biggest
kinda-
letdowns because we have to butt in every now and again, don't we?
Yeah,
Blue politics is in here.
Blue politics.
Yeah.
I'm not
blue
even
pol-
allowed in that Discord.
like,
I don't think.
Hold on,
Why? Well, I mean, were you uncivil or something?
No, I don't even know why.
Maybe.
Like, it just doesn't let me join it. Maybe because I'm not in the U.S.
Well, well, the guy that runs it is in Iowa, so that would just kind of be a killjoy.
I mean, it's fine. Like,
Well,
if
he's
they don't
making
want
fun of me with
non-Americans to be in it, it's easier.
Deport that man right
I'm just
now.
a Discord mod.
Base.
But yeah, I think I should be abolished 100%.
At the very least, it should be reformed.
I don't think you can reform it. I think you should abolish it.
I don't have any issue with that, but like the Reformation should be, it shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
you can
at the
reform
very
it.
least,
I mean,
it should
but-
undergo like a name change and like massive defunding.
Was ICE that bad between 9/11 and?
I don't believe
Well,
so.
like,
I think they started getting more extreme once Stone
purpose
tried their
of
politics because he's
ICE
just been
is so that there was a measure of
adding in those kind of
enforcement within the
anti-immigrant
United States
attitudes, and I don't
outside
just
of
mean like
customs
anti-illegal immigrant,
which is
anti-immigrant.
Isn't the
think
main
that's
issue
necessary
for
at all.
illegal migration that
illegal?
visa
So
and
customs
shit like
enforcement
run
would
out?
work with both the FBI and the state in regards to investigations, in regards to illegality within those states. It worked primarily. Like, there wasn't that major of an issue with it. It actually operated pretty well. The issue here is literally all you've done is create a federal entity that can operate with almost no measure or concern within the United States.
You would say.
And I
With
need a
absolute
server on
impunity.
mute so I
It's
could
insane.
interject in this.
Yeah,
But if ICE got reduced to just one job, which is basically drive to detention centers and pick up illegals, illegal migrants who already served the sentence.
Police can do
and,
that. Police can do that. Police already do that.
I don't think so. I think that's the main job of
Why?
ICE.
They don't have cars?
No. I think like it's actually
Police
their
can't
main-
enforce immigration because police only enforce state laws, and states do
Police
not
can
have
enforce
immigration
federal
laws.
law with federal collaboration.
Yes, but they got to be
Perfectly
almost like
legal.
an
Right,
addition. They need to be
collaboration
like
would be
attached
ICE.
to coordination with the
That doesn't make
law. They
sense.
can't just do it
Collaboration
on
would
their-
be customs, where they work under in the first place.
What do you think the C and ICE is? The C is custom enforcement.
That's what I'm saying.
Immigration
Is that
is
my boy Dan?
customs enforcement.
But my question is, I don't know.
Shout out to Dan, by the way.
History of ICE
Dan Dan Bana.
that much.
It
but
came
I
under
know-
the
Go ahead and
Homeland
follow
Security
him.
Act in
Yeah,
2002.
The homie.
It was
Yeah,
following
after
the
9/11.
2001. It was
Yeah, it was
literally
after
to stop
9/11.
terrorists from getting in the States.
Yeah, but
It was because
Yeah,
there
and
was a
they
belief that
went
they were
way
going to
too
get
far with that. I
terrorists in
agree.
the USA.
Here's the thing, though. Why is it a problem now? It's because it's politicized, right?
No, it's a problem now because it gives literally the president state enforcement power.
Well, it would have given Biden the same thing, right?
But it's not supposed to.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It would have.
Yeah, the thing is, if Trump just didn't touch ICE,
he's not really getting what the issue is. The issue is that you don't
want
to give
that
kind of power to the discretion of a president and have the president use it. You don't want to leave it up to the discretion of
then we complain about it. Perfect.
Well, that,
you
want to take it away. You want to put regulations on the authority. You want to make it so that you don't have to rely on like a gentleman's
to abolish it.
Be
like the main
True.
thing that needs to
Clearly
happen is
define
to
that
get
you
everyone
can't
out who joined within the 4 years that
other
already
kind of-
Yeah,
under
but then
Trump
like
and-
then what if
that
the next guy comes up and same thing happens? You know.
It looks like the stream, the debate that Wick was putting on is over.
So
We had
bad if
policies
Congress and the Senate were actually doing.
I'll stick around for a little bit longer. I want to get server unmuted, and then I also want to interject a point in here.
was not an issue of customs
If I
enforcement. It was
can.
literally an issue of CIA and FBI
On fungus.
collaboration. Like that was
Thousand things you do.
and executive collaboration. Like
that
that was
long
the
run.
I mean, that's
fucking
true. That is
unmuted.
true.
Yeah,
So what's the next thing?
That was the big
I don't
issue.
like
I
ICE.
think it just needs to be reformed and
I don't
rolled
think
back
reform
into
is
what it
enough.
used to be, not what it currently is now.
I don't think reform is
No,
enough
just
because
make
the
it
same
not
thing
exist.
happens.
Easy.
Like if we reform it, the same guy come in. Wasn't there like a fucking leak about them? They had rules and there's whole nother rules now where you can fucking invade people's homes.
Yes, there
That was
is.
secret.
There's a leak
like-
where
That was
quite
secret,
literally
though.
they're
Right,
using
but-
custom enforcement warrants.
But that's still illegal.
Literally public enforced warrants.
Yes,
It's not
that is
legal.
truly illegal.
It hasn't been
That-
challenged, but it's not the purpose of it.
Yeah,
That has
and,
been that has been clearly stated in
And they're
multiple courts.
and they're not trying that in Texas because they would know exactly what happens in Texas.
Exactly.
I'm a Europor, so
All
but I
this
have
does
a-
is give powers to states that want it and then takes it away from states that don't. This
Okay,
is
if the
the
states don't
most
wanna fucking-
horrible federal power that has ever been instituted. It is insane. The amount of power that ICE, and we've been talking about this.
Only
Everybody,
constituted is
the
what it
news,
is.
plenty
Institute.
of scholars. Everybody's been talking about the incredible amount of power that ICE holds for the executive, but no one's acting on it because they're like, no, Obama wouldn't do this. Bush wouldn't
Maybe you
do
meant
this. If Clinton were in office, he wouldn't do
Thought he
this.
meant
But now we have a
instantiated.
crazy
You got a
person
fucking
in office.
retard
Suddenly
in
he
office
decides
now,
to do
so
it.
you know.
Whoa!
There's a fucking retard in office right now.
Greatest
who's
specific-
like
What's the
Clinton.
problem? If
instantiate's more like
3 out of
calling
4
up.
presidents in the 2000s wouldn't do it, it's okay. Sorry, 3 out
I mean,
of
and
4.
I don't think it's that Trump's a retard. It's that Trump has so many sycophants behind him that if Trump was just a retard, it would be like his first term.
I'm not getting into the
But-
sycophant, I'm not getting into the Trump sycophant situation. This is literally federal powers that is way too grandiose for the executive branch. It's insane.
Let's get one thing clear. Trump is
A
not a
retard.
retard. No, he's not a
Absolutely.
retard.
No,
He's a
he actually
demented
is
man.
kind of retarded.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
He actually is
Yeah,
pretty
no,
stupid.
actually, who
But he's
cares?
being,
But
but he's being controlled by other people.
He's not being
The autopilot
controlled.
thing
He's
is
just carrying out the
rejection.
policy that he thinks other
No,
people
wait, who
that will
cares?
support. He doesn't really
matter.
care. He doesn't have an
Like, there's literally
ideology.
too much
No, he
power.
has
He just
a-
carries out the
Trump-
policy that'll
Trump
give him
doesn't have
support,
any
and he has
ideas.
people around him that are very
No,
clever and
no,
very
no,
smart.
hold on.
Other than
He's not like, okay, to say he's retarded is a little bit of a exaggeration, but he's not particularly smart. He's kind of stupid. But he appeals to people in that kind of lowest common denominator communication style and thought process. But he has people surrounding him who are very clever, and they come up with the policy
still talks about the touchdown
and the strategy and the legal theory that they use to
that's all he's been
this kind
doing.
of stuff.
Yeah, it's not
I'm glad-
retarded.
I'm
It's
glad
just
we discerned
demented.
that.
No,
he's
it's
an
not-
old. He's an old man that's demented.
It'd be a
That's
bit
It's
of
not
both.
all it is.
dimension. All it is
It's
a,
not
it is,
demented.
it is literally a repeating record. That's all it is.
It's at least the third
It's what
dimension, right?
happens
Come
when
on,
you've
fungus.
never been held to account
Mute
for
my ass, please.
anything you've ever done in your entire life. When
Yeah.
you're allowed to do whatever you want your entire
Who
life,
cares?
you end up like Donald
Who
Trump.
gives a shit? Yes, Trump is horrible. We get it. Fix the problems we have. Who gives a fuck?
Well, I mean, that's like saying, why not just get rid of the presidency because some presidents could be bad?
No. So just
Get
to
rid of all
clarify, we
ICE
have a
because some
president.
presidents.
We
Just
have a
get rid of the
president who
president
will.
then.
No. We have an absolute
Get rid
power.
of the entire
of
government at that point. Don't enforce anything.
We have a president that holds absolute power. Let's concentrate on the issues that beholds, not necessarily the fact that President Trump is a dum-dum.
By the way, then
we can do.
We get
was
it.
actually
Two things at
discussed
once.
not to have a
But you
presidency.
can't do shit if you don't
Not
win the House
really.
and Senate.
It's not that complicated. Like you immediately went off the ice thing. It's just like everybody.
The Democrats can't win.
Trump
They
bad.
can't win shit.
Trump bad.
Senate
Trump
and the
bad.
Congress can't do anything.
I have a question about ICE though. Is the tool bad or is it being wielded bad?
It's just bad.
Being wielded
It's
bad.
bad.
Terrible.
It's not even wielded bad.
Yes,
but
is
the concept of ICE a bad thing?
This is not how
you can
ICE
make it
operates.
so that the tool cannot be
speak to that
abused
because I was
by
a
putting
fucking guns
limitations.
gang operator or law enforcement officer in St. Louis, Missouri.
In a
ICE
sense, the tool is
always
bad. The
has
tool is not inherently bad, but the regulations around it might be bad. It might be structured
They only did that
insufficiently
because
at the moment.
they were under the enlistment of the president at that point in time. They had the powers to do what they do at that point in time when you were working.
my God.
All the way back to 2002.
We'll call ICE.
Where the fuck is this frog bird? Are they even here in here anymore?
For
They leave.
example, I can't pull them over because I think they're illegal as a local police officer in the state of Missouri. If I run their identification, listen, if I run their identification, they come up undocumented, I can detain them shortly and call ICE. That's how that system used to work, and we'd help them with targeted raids.
No, it still works. It still works that way. Technically, all they were doing was enlisting the same measures that the FBI and that things like the IRS or other three-letter institutions would within the United States. That was already constant. And the primary reason for that was because local enforcement had those measures in place as state entities to do that. It was already there. But the minute the president said, fuck those entities, it didn't matter.
Welcome.
I agree.
That's the measure of that's the measure of power.
That's why I'm upset.
Measure of power that it was.
That's why I'm upset with Republicans because they're not holding into account. But this is not how ICE and law enforcement ever acted. Minnesota is not normal. We don't do sweeps like that.
No, we get that. We get that. Like the president's enforcement changed.
The only person who can stop that is Congress. They can legislate that. They make the law.
Under this current president, maybe, but like that was what was enlisted under the Homeland Security Act. And that what has been repracticed over and over and over again. They gave direct enforcement to the president. That's why he was like, I can't go to the FBI because
is it a connection issue or overloaded system preventing your camera from starting, fixing by updating drivers, checking network.
I understand what you're saying, but again, all that stuff has to be legislated.
I wonder, Discord has access to checking for conflicting.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. This was all legislated.
Oh, I don't know if this is the issue. The issue might be that I'm playing the camera through Discord.
No, but like
the president this power.
And I play
purpose of ICE was
camera
to give
through
direct
Discord.
power under Bush, so that if something else occurred along the lines of 9/11, he would be able to enact.
Yes, you can use the same camera both Discord and OBS
immediately
Studio simultaneously by using OBS virtual feature. Well, Windows typically restricts the camera to one application. OBS can act as a hub, allowing you to run your cam in OBS and send the output to Discord. Open Discord OBS Studio. Add the webcam as a video capture device source. Start virtual camera. Click the start camera button on the OBS.
Just a
panel.
question.
Yes.
Could the midterms fix
Set your camera input at OBS
Hey
virtual
guys,
camera. Okay, let me
can
see
I
if
just
this
really quickly check? You guys are totally aware that the stream is stopped now. There's no more call-ins.
Yeah, I'm really
Yes,
upset.
can you unserver me, my
Destiny for fucking up these
God damn it! I was
for me,
trying to
you true
fucking yell
conservatives.
at this guy, man. Oh man.
Yeah, man. Sorry. Maybe next time.
You gotta let conservatives on, dog, like real ones, not MAGA sycophants.
So I'm just letting you know that just in case
the real
you.
ones on.
So as not to
I
waste
think there
your-
are just
Don't
conservatives
get this
anymore.
fucking Drew guy anymore.
There's
Get
not.
this Drew
Like,
guy
there's
out of
like counterpoints. Maybe like the Adam K guy. I don't know if you're a conservative or anybody here is.
here. Hey,
but
you
like,
got Connor, all right? You
I
got
don't know.
Connor.
Counterpoints does some dumbass shit sometimes too.
He
so-
does.
Hey,
don't
but
always-
like he
I don't
does,
always
but
agree with
like that's my boy, all right. Leave him alone.
Hey, you guys want to hear my pro-Trump take?
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
I mean,
Don't do
you
it.
can tell from my accent I'm not
Don't do it. You're European. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Listen,
yeah.
I've
Here we
known
go.
plenty
Here we
of
go.
Irish
Here we go.
people.
I'm not Irish either.
Don't fucking do it. You're some
Boy
Europe,
Irish.
My pro-Trump take is Trump is great in the same way that Erdogan from Turkey is great because he ruined Turkey.
I'd rather
That's
him
my
not ruin
European
my
take.
fucking
Americans
country,
love
all right?
Turkey.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Fuck, man,
Europeans hate Turkey.
I get why there are no prolific European comedians.
True.
Thank you.
Get him out of here.
Listen, man, I appreciate you guys. I need you guys to vote and win in the midterms.
Hey, I will
Listen,
vote.
man,
Oh my god! First
please.
time in my life, I will vote fucking blue.
Listen,
I
man,
agree. Fix this, guys.
His comedy style is that to the Germans. It's not really a laughing matter.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, 6 million, really? Come on.
Okay, calm down.
Nah, I'm just fucking.
Holy shit!
It was at least 8.
Listen,
It could have been 20. Come on.
I just okay. Somebody was listening to the soy pill versus the world debate last night. Jesus Christ.
What I was wondering is like, couldn't you just
Mr. Hex,
limit
you're
the region in which ICE has jurisdiction to like a perimeter of 1 mile within the border regions, and just in cases in which they pick up people from detention centers, like
The issue with that, and Republicans don't want to tell you, the vast majority of illegal immigration doesn't come from the borders. It comes through airports.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Hey,
that's what I
The
mentioned
vast
earlier.
majority.
What's up, Dan? How you doing?
Well,
What up?
Wait, hold on.
Hey, I just wanted to real quickly. I'm fairly agnostic on the topic of whether or not we blow up ICE entirely or if we reform it. But I was hearing you guys' argument over it, and I was wondering, like, it kind of seemed like the other guy was saying that ICE itself existing kind of gives too much power to the president. But I'm wondering, doesn't the necessary and proper clause of the Constitution give Congress the right to structure the agency such that it has a limitation on how far he's able to exercise that power, what their authority is? Seems kind of like a non-issue to me.
Congress doesn't do shit anymore, so.
Fair enough, yeah.
So from my understanding, I don't know if the term jurisdiction is the word I'm looking for, but basically, if you have police officers, they usually are just allowed to act within their jurisdiction, like their region for which they are trained. Like, I think it's statewide, right?
I think originally it was, but not anymore, because it's directly, like, the president can just say, okay, that's done. You can do whatever you want now. And
But
that's
like
essentially what happened.
Congress can assert regions of jurisdiction. Like they can say, people who are trained within California to be police officers in California have jurisdiction in California to execute the laws according to what is presented by.
Anyways, all right, so that's all I wanted to add to the conversation. The debate with Destiny and them is over on Whicks stream. I'll try to get into those debates in the future.
It's a federal agency.
I watch out for them. I get the messages every now and then. I can't go into every debate that they have. They usually have 8 o'clock on our time, Western Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Pacific. But yeah, I'll try to pop into one of these days. I want to get into the gauntlet of these debates. I feel pretty strongly about my debate skill. Really had a chance to flex it for a particular reason. I really haven't made a huge effort today, but we will in the future. I'm gonna wrap it up for this one. The actual Whicks debate panel is over, and the debate that they're having right now, like super duper. It seems a little tedious and kind of getting into the weeds, and like you heard me say, I don't really. I'm a little bit agnostic on. I mean, I don't believe that we should simply reform the agency. I think you need to, at the very least, fire all of the leadership and prosecute them, and then kind of restructure the agency based on that. I would be more in favor of blowing up the entire fucking agency and starting over from zero, getting rid of like the bad legacy. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty agnostic to it otherwise, and this debate that they're having is kind of getting in the weeds on that, so I'm gonna wrap it up for the night. I saw that you just popped in. I'm sorry, I'm actually wrapping this up, but feel free to pop in the future. If, you know, I know you probably didn't really catch much, but you can always subscribe and what I got going on. All right, have a good one. See you later. Bye.